vibe. Look in my eyes, he hypnotized. He don't know why. He don't know why.
Warning, extended satirical material on this program may strike some viewers as vulgar, offensive, prurient, or worst of all, serious. It's satire. Please adjust your expectations and interpretations accordingly. Welcome to Why So Spicy with Nicholas B. Welcome to the show, Max. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. Nicholas B. coming at you. So tell me about your origin story. Like, where are you from? How did it all start?
Yeah, so grew up in South Central LA area. So obviously, grew up around gangs and, that whole lifestyle or whatever the case may be. But an avid sports player. So, that was kind of my introduction to the world of, gang life, but also, how to stay out of it or how to make a better decision because I wanted to go to college and play ball.
And so I grew up I was born in Long Beach, lived in Riverside, Cypress, Huntington.
Yeah.
So when you say South Central, are you referring to, what was the city?
Manchester in Vermont.
Okay.
Right off the 110 freeway, you take Manchester, right? The Manchester exit, make a right.
Damn.
And I think they call it South LA now, but back in the day it was called South Central LA. But
yeah,
I mean, right in the heart of LA. Right across the way from 40, what was it? Oh man, what was that division? LAPD's division was right there. It's like 44th division or something like that. So they were just...
Were you a scrapper as a kid, or you played football and everyone left you alone?
No, you know what? I was a scrapper as a kid. I would say kind of got wrapped up in the gang thing at my younger age. And then as I got older into my 17, 18 years, I was dabbling in it, but I learned that if I really wanted to take a shot at playing pro football, I needed to step away from that completely because doing jail time or, getting into trouble or whatever the case may be was not going to be in my best interest if that was the goals that I was looking to do. Nobody wants a college football player that's got a record or is a knucklehead because then you can't play and they don't want to throw money at you. So I would say I started cleaning up my act probably around 17, 18 years of age, my senior year.
So before that, you just dabbled. You knew people. They didn't force you into it, just like friends, like a
no,
community.
They didn't force me in it, but because I banged heads good and I was loyal, anytime we got in a fight, I didn't care if it was, the two of us on 5, 7, 10, I'm going to go back to back with you and I'm going to take out everybody in our path. So, and that's the heart you had to have out there back then. Nowadays, it's not like that. Nobody's loyal or anything like that. But back in those days, you had to be loyal to your friends, your neighborhood, your family members. And you couldn't back down to anybody because if you back down to anybody, you're a punk. Now they're going to mess with you day in and day out, So you had to stand up for whatever you believed in.
Damn, I got in fights, but it wasn't like that. Yeah, we had like Riverside North High School was was a rougher high school. It was like mixed Latino, black, white, kind of a third.
Yeah,
and I was just big enough on the football team where I didn't actually play, but I just had muscles. I started working out, so no one really messed with me. I was kind of like the protector of the weaker kids, I guess. But we had 6 active duty police officers at our school, and they got involved often because like they had SWAT come in because 2 kids were beating each other up with baseball metal pipes behind the school. It was kind of a rough, and there was a lot of drugs. So when they wanted me to, I just didn't want to get involved, and I didn't hurt anyone's feelings. I just joked around. Humor was my defense type mechanism. Was there anyone in your school that used humor, or is it you were just in it or not?
Anyone that used humor, you said?
Yeah, like Chris. What was it? What's the famous comedian's
Chris Tucker?
name? No, smaller.
Chris Tucker? Chris.
He's worth $500 million now. He's like the comedian, not
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Did they have anyone like that
Yeah.
was funny that wasn't in the gang, just survived with humor, or was that such a thing?
Yeah, I could see guys like that. They just, there was a couple homies I had that were like just real good people persons.
Yeah.
And so they just, like you said, had the humor. They had the swagger to just kind of kick it with anybody. They could kick it with the blacks, the Mexicans, whatever. And they were just so smooth with it that nobody wanted to fight them. And if they got worked up or people got worked up over stuff, they were able to smooth things over, by telling jokes or just being funny about something. And that's what's a good defense mechanism, because guys like that, they were the ones that kept, a lot of probably fights and murders down, because guys would want to go at each other, and then these guys get involved, and they'd split it up and make everybody laugh and cool everybody off. So yeah, that's a great mechanism to have for sure if you got it.
What was your school was primarily blue or red? Like, I don't know the difference between blood.
Yeah.
Seems like the red and
Sure.
Crips are blue.
Yep, that is correct. Crips are blue, Bloods are red. So my school that I went to, I got in a little bit of trouble. I got expelled from school twice when I was younger. So I got sent to a private school so that I would stop cutting up and hopefully get my mind right, because I was very good at school.
Oh.
And I was I got straight A's when my mind was in the right place very easily. And so my dad saw that. He saw that I could definitely make it in college, study-wise as well as sports. And so he was willing to do whatever it took to remove me from that entity that was, kind of poison to me, that was drawing me in because I liked some of the lifestyle involved. So my high school that I would have went to would have been a Crip high school. However, just like you said, depending on the neighborhoods, you're absolutely right. There were neighborhoods that Crips don't even go to if that was the high school there for you, that you were zoned for. Yeah. You wouldn't even go there because you knew it was a blood school, or vice versa.
Damn.
Yeah.
And so your father had a little bit of money then to be able to send you to a private, because private schools cost money back then.
You know what? He got into the military, so he had a little bit of change, but even though he saw it as such an importance for his 3 kids to succeed that he would have went broke spending money on sending us to a private school. Damn. Just to make sure we were successful, because that was important to him, the next generation. And so he made lots of sacrifices for that. So
damn,
yeah,
man, that's impressive. You recognize that, because 3 kids, and so
yeah.
At what point did you realize that football may not be the collegiate, like call NFL? Like, did you ever realize like I may not be good enough, like something like that?
Yeah, that's funny. And at first, I'm gonna tell you who got me to realize that. Not that I wasn't good enough just to have a secondary plan. It was my dad. I had gotten a call from a couple of coaches to go play NFL Europe, and then proceed on to go to the pros after that. It's just kind of NFL Europe was kind of like the B leagues, if you will, to kind of get, young kids situated, or guys that, may have already played in the NFL, but weren't on an active roster. You would go to NFL Europe so that you could hone your skills and then peel off and go to a pro team from there. Well, I got a phone call like my sophomore or junior year to start going out and training and whatnot. But if you sign a contract, you burn your NCAA eligibility.
Oh.
So my dad, exactly. So my dad told me, he said, "Hey, look, I hear you're doing well. Glad they're calling you. However, you have no idea what the future holds. You don't know if you're going to get hurt, what could happen, or whatever the case may be. If they want you as a sophomore or a junior, they will love you as a senior, graduated with a degree." Well, I argued that into the ground. And he said, essentially, you will not play the NFL or any pro sport until you graduate with a degree, so that in case something happens, you have a fallback plan. Damn. And so, so he made sure, as and I respected his opinion. I didn't like the answer, but I respected his opinion. So I finished my college. I double majored, got a bachelor's of science in criminal justice, a bachelor's of science in psychology. And then I did great in college. I blew my shoulder out once, had reconstructive surgery to fix that, and then I blew it out again.
Rotator cuff,
playing semi-pro ball.
Glenoid,
the whole shoulder.
Oh damn! Full
labrum. The whole shoulder labrum. My bicep tore, rolled down, like the whole thing. They had to go in there
twice
and fix up twice. Yeah, and so with both of those injuries, one in college and then one playing semi-pro, going to pro as an adult, I was faced with the decision of, just like my dad said, you're, 21 years old, 22 years old or whatever. Now you have your college degrees. You've done the semi-pro. If you want to push forward and continue, I will support you in that. However, you also have your degrees. And so where do you want to go?
Damn.
And so I kind of bounced back and forth, did some semi-pro stuff, but I got into law enforcement because that was my backup plan. And so after doing the semi-pro stuff for a while, I just decided that going into SWAT team and gang unit, that I was going to hang it up and do that full time and just put all my 100% into that. But I would have not had that opportunity had my dad not encouraged me to finish college, get my degrees, and then,
So you're a big guy. You're solid. So I either stereotype you as either a running back, fullback, or possibly a safety, linebacker. What did you play?
Yeah. Geez, you're good call. Yeah. So high school, I was the third top ranked running back in the state of Nevada, and then I played outside linebacker. And then when I got my scholarship to go to a couple of different colleges, they were recruiting me as a running back.
Damn.
But actually, when I went there, I made a decision. I don't know if I should have, but it seemed to make sense to me at the time. We had about 20 running backs. And I'm talking from freshmen coming in all the way to the 2 senior starters that were playing. We had 20 guys, and you only run 2 running backs, 3 tops during the season, right?
Yeah.
And if nobody gets injured. So, being down at the bottom when you're in college, everybody's good.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody's good. Everybody's done state. Everybody's top notch. These are all the best of the best. So I switched over to wide receiver, and played backup safety. Yeah. So I actually was a pretty big wide receiver. I played about 220, 225, and then I'm only 6 foot. I'm not super tall, but I ran about a 4.5, 4.6 40. So not quick, but fast enough that if I brought a load, I'd run you over, break it back. So, and I had a running back mentality.
Yeah, that's the truth. I've seen people shorter stature and maybe not as fast, but if they can catch the ball, like these one-handed, you've seen these incredible catches.
Yeah.
It's all just on that talent. And I've seen, what was his name? Talmadge? There was some guy that was a wide receiver and totally tore it up in high school. And now he's a quarterback in college, and I just forgot his name. But you switch, or a quarterback in college, tight end, and they want him to play something else, and it's not his bag, so he just quits. He gives it up. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. And thing, but I'm like, damn, the money's so good. It's hard to turn down. Did you get paid any money, or no? They didn't have back in your day the ability.
Yeah, they didn't have the opportunities. Money. Yeah, these guys have so much more opportunities than us. You can leave college and go play, have a decent contract, right? Get the playing time you want, get the TV time you want. You're not even in the NFL. And so you can do that a whole career. You got guys that play Canadian ball, Canadian League. You got USFL. You got XFL. You've got the Arena League still. So there's a lot more opportunity now.
That is awesome. I've been crazy.
Oh my God, yeah, and it's super fast. It's very much so. It's a high octane game, so it's not as, it's not. If you like football and you see that to be high octane, you turn on arena ball and they're just. The score is like 45 to 65 because they're just boom, 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 boom.
Denver still, I'm going up there. I didn't know it was alive. I saw some USFL. Yeah. It's okay. I like the Canadian League, but it's hard to find on TV. NFL just runs. Yeah. It's like they're always. It just runs.
Yeah. At the dynasty, so they'll always be there.
There's no other, I'm dying. 2013, I think, is the last year they had NCAA football and basketball, and they're talking about bringing it back next year, maybe 2025.
Right.
And I'm just my God, anything to get those games, because you just have one player, number 4 on USC. No matter what, you Hail Mary, he's going to catch it. It's one of those.
And he's going to catch it, right. Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Ohio, and you're just going to sweep to the outside. And it's going to be a guarantee.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I love that shit.
Yeah. The game has changed too. Like you're saying, you got all these leagues now for guys. Like college players are getting paid.
Oh, NIL?
You can be paid now.
Did you know you'll make $1 million a game if you're good? Like you're playing for Oregon Ducks, who Nike runs them. You're talking Georgia. Georgia pays well because the Bulldogs and Ohio State. And these sponsors you'll put out a little what's it called? With that little monkey that moves around that Eminem bought.
Okay.
Or was it Snoop Dogg?
Right.
Anyways, a nil, some sort of and so these college players, they'll just buy one little sticker a play. But if you buy it 1 million times because they appreciate your game, you can make more. Because NFL players starting out only make $800,000. Unless you have a guaranteed bonus, that's where the bonus comes in.
Right.
But if you're playing in college, you make $1, $2, $4 million a year, 4 years.
Oh,
you're talking, you make more in college now than you will if you're not
than
an
you
elite.
could in the pros.
But the one guy, Thibodeau, for Oregon Ducks, he went on to make as much as the college or the NFL quarterbacks. He's making 44 to 46 million a year. So he's my number 5 on New York Giants. I follow him now. And
he's a beast. Yeah, he's a beast.
He's like number 1.
Yeah, but I mean, they're getting paid now. We weren't getting paid at all. Whatever you got paid, it was your scholarship, and the money that you get to eat in the cafeteria and stuff comes from the school instead of out of your pocket. But outside of an education, your skill or whatever the case may be,
and this wasn't,
they were only.
This wasn't like $100,000 profit the colleges were making. This is not $1 million.
Oh my God!
Profits.
No,
they were making billions. And when I say billions,
off of
just the TV, and then there's like schools like let's name some: Tennessee, Alabama. The schools are worth
Ohio, Georgia, USC, anything in that, Florida State, Florida. All those guys, they're making money.
Not from making charging students at exorbitant fees for college.
Right.
We're talking just football, nothing else. And then basketball,
no basketball, no baseball. We're just talking football.
Football made $44 billion, and so and so you're playing football. You hurt your shoulder twice. You're taking college at this time, and then you look at psychology. And I've always seen psychology as like so interesting. I love it, and I did some dabbling with, but. Money-wise, you have to have a doctorate to even start paying the bills. Like, it's just a good
man. You better preach.
Yeah,
you better preach. Yeah, you gotta preach. You got it. You know it. You did more than dabble. If you know that, if you know that, you did more than dabble because you're absolutely right.
It's like
any job I've ever worked in with psychology, I've always got to have that guy with the doctorate. I got to work under him because you can't do anything without it. So you're right.
And it's all just you learn key phrases like, and I always say this every time. If you say these 3 things to anyone, this is enough to piss them off and they want to kill you. Just calm down, take a deep breath, relax.
Right.
And I'm like, motherfucker, you did not just help me. You triggered me.
You just triggered me, right? You just pissed me off now.
I'll calm down. I'm going to get you back later. You believe me.
The sniper rifle I have in my closet I'm breaking that out.
I'll calm down, bitch.
Right. And exactly.
Those are trigger, or the other trigger word is, what's your point? Like, there's no fucking way to come back from that. That's like,
you can't cut that's a hole you just dove in.
You want to fucking know my point? It's fucking on now.
Yeah,
bitch.
You want to know my point? Right. The point is at the tip of this knife I have in my pocket. And I'm now going to shank you with.
That's my point. So
that's my point.
You saw the criminal justice, which I just found out after speaking to someone, and at least in Colorado Springs, you have to have 2 years of associate degree or some sort of college background before you're allowed to join the academy here. Did you have to do that where you got 2 to 4 years of college, or what happened?
Yeah, I graduated. I did 5 years of college. I didn't have to. I did 4 and I double majored. And then the 5th year I had a redshirt my freshman year. So I had a 5th year of football left. So my counselor came to me and said, hey, look, if you want to stay and play another year of football, you're about 6 credits short of making psychology also another major. It was my minor. And so you've taken so many classes, just why don't you take a couple of more and play football for another year, and then you can have a bachelor's of science in both. So I stayed a 5th year, played football. That was the big thing. That's all I really cared about.
I think it was a wise decision.
And it turned out to be a wise decision, right? So I graduated with bachelor's of science in both. So when I decided to go law enforcement, and you needed, I think at that time, like you said, like a year or 2 of college, I already had 4 years, so I was good. I was good to go. And they actually gave me a bonus for having 4 years and a bachelor's degree. They actually paid me extra.
So my question is, and I know nothing about the real college world because when I was in the military, I had to do every place I went, I just tried to take more courses when I realized I was kind of smart and I wasn't stupid, like my father always said. And so I didn't have the ability to go to school and get involved in fraternities or gang, or you know what I'm saying? Not gangs, but intellectual fraternity gangs. Did you do any, and I don't know the names, forgive me, Phi Beta Kappa, Sci-Fi, Sci-Fi Theta, I don't know what you call it.
All those Greek terms.
Did you get like a tattoo or a brand or do anything in college?
I didn't.
Whoa.
I didn't. And the only reason I didn't, you would think maybe I would have felt, it's that the football team was like a gang already.
Yeah.
We rolled together, 120 guys, always in the weight room and stuff like that. So I really didn't seek out or feel the need to actually attach myself to something else that I had to have an allegiance to. Because football took all my time besides school.
Oh
You know,
my
we
God.
were training in the off season, training in the on season. Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't have any time for that. Now, there were some guys that did. For me, my full allegiance was football. I wanted to go pro. I wanted to absorb everything and just throw myself into this full time. And so
what was your bench
I did not.
back then? How much could you bench?
I think you like my max in college, like the max.
Yeah,
I think I got to the 1,000 club.
What?
Yeah, I think I got to the 1,000 club where I was able to squat 500 and bench just shy of 5.
No
so I think it was at like
shit.
425, 450, which is pretty good for a wide receiver.
Yeah, hell yeah,
you know, whatever the case might be, because I'm not.
High school, 10th grade, I was one of only two people. Lane Chapman was the other guy. He actually went on to play University of Arkansas. But I bench pressed in 10th grade, starting out at 400. And then we had to do it.
See, you're better than me.
We had to do it 3 or 5 times, though. We had to do it like a no assistance. And we're just like screaming like those guys in the locker room. Ah! You know, that shit to get all the, and you stop breathing, you turn red, and you just keep going. And so that was, I got my picture on the wall, and I thought I'd be good, but then I never played football before. Just moved from California to Arkansas, so I never actually got to, like we did practice Hell Week, I made it through that, but when it came to tackling people, they would, like the quarterback came up to me 5 yards away, and I just stood there, and I started double tapping my feet, like really quick, like which way he's going to go.
Yeah.
And then I just missed the tackle, and all of a sudden the coach came up to me, grabbed my helmet, started yelling, and I just fucking broke down crying. I just like, I was like, fuck, and they were like, just like, this guy's not going to be able to play football. So they just put me at nose guard, because when they just started putting me at left guard, left tackle, I couldn't remember the plays, and they switched me in different areas. I'm like, what the fuck, you guys made me learn these plays? And then someone on our team bitched, and they gave our plays to Conway, Arkansas. It was another city. And all of a sudden, they came up with new plays because they thought that someone gave away the plays. So I'm like, mother of God. I'd never played football, didn't know the plays. So nose guard, I either went straight, left, or right. Couldn't fuck that up. I had no football.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Do you remember, like, when they had you at running back? You remember the 1, the 2, the 3, 4 holes and all that? When they were calling things out like Peyton Manning, like Omaha, 357-8. Did you memorize all that shit? Or was there ever a time
you had to. You had to. I mean, you know, and I started playing I played flag like in 1st through like 4th grade. And then like from 4th grade on, I played tackle. So they kind of exposed you to that. I grew up in it. So that made it a lot easier than going into like high school and learning it for the first time. And now you're telling me plays, and I've never heard of these holes before or where to go or anything. I think that helped a lot because it gives you a foundation. So now I'm going into high school, and I've already played and learned so many different things that when now I have to learn this compound, super, detailed playbook. I did have to study, but I had some grounds for that. My coach killed me in high school. He ran me like ridiculous, like literally 45 to 50 times a game on offense, which is so much. That's like unheard of for a running back.
You were good,
right?
man.
And then I go to defense and play outside linebacker. Jesus. Whatever. So when they go party after when we won high school games or championships or whatever, I was laid out. I was on crutches, laid out, just spent, it was bad. So I enjoyed the thing, but it hurt.
And I'm not going to lie to you, the California football. Had different plays, and then when I was in Arkansas, they take football more serious. It's life and death. No, really.
Sure.
It's like varsity.
At a younger age too.
Texas and Arkansas, and so the coaches taught us to, like, when you're standing up, you step on their fingers. If the referees aren't looking, you kick them in the balls.
Right.
Spit on them, and you
learn the dirty game. Yeah, right. Poke them in the eye.
No, seriously.
Right. Oh yeah.
California wasn't as bad. I mean, we hated them, but it's like no, you held them up and shit. But it was fucking. fucking Arkansas was like, if you could kill them, if you could run them off the road when we're not playing football, the coach would nod his head.
Sir.
Like it was life and death. Southern California is still pretty serious, but Arkansas took it a little farther.
Yeah, it's a different. I don't know. You're committing felonies for a first time on the field. Yes.
No, you're not lying. It's like,
you're committing right. You're committing felonies,
and I'm gonna fuck someone up. And I want
exactly.
If you take out their knees, they taught us how to take people's knees out so they can never walk again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but won't that hurt them, coach? And they're like,
right. Won't he ever walk again? You're gonna destroy his entire career right now. Right now.
Are you going to be a pussy out there? They didn't mess around. Like the military didn't even use as many violent words as the football coaches did. And so when these parents are like, my son is such a good, wholesome, and I remember it, 9 years of age, they're teaching you things on the field that just like,
right.
No, the weird thing was I did play youth. There's something called American Youth Soccer Association for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And that was so tame. It's like, hey guys, let's get some oranges at lunch. You know, these coaches are like really intelligent.
Right. They've never played soccer ever.
The father's like an accountant.
It's the dad who volunteers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He saw a thing on TV.
I brought raisins and Capri Suns for after the game.
No, seriously.
Like, who brings raisins?
And so everyone has that, like, as a kid, everyone talks about, I was state, I was the best, I won awards with wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And so everyone has a story except me. My life was a little different. And so they had these tryouts for soccer, and they put a bunch, they put about 5 good kids on one team and then a bunch of losers to the losers kind of, and so I was one of the, out of the, let's say 12 kids, I was number 2 or 3.
Right.
I was like really good, but not good enough to be the number 1, like Messi or something like that. So,
Got it.
First year, we came in dead last place. Second year, dead last place. Third year, dead last place. The fourth year, the last 2 games, the coach put me in at forward. He said, just fuck it. Let's go crazy. And so I literally took the ball. And there's this guy named Pele, is a black guy from Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
I took the ball all the way down the field, fucking scored. And then the next time, the guy did a little kick from the little corner, and all of a sudden, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I don't know someone took over my body, out-of-body experience. He kicked it, I ran up quick, and I don't know why, I just flew through the air, and I jumped, and I put my knee out, fucking hit my knee and went in. I had no coordination. I don't know how it fucking happened. The crowd went fucking crazy. The parents were like throwing chairs, throwing oranges. They literally took me to Chuck E. Cheese. All the kids were going crazy.
All expenses paid. Like, you're throwing gold coins in the air like you're a rich man.
No, I'm serious. The parents brought me in on their shoulders. The kids were screaming and jumping up and down. One of the greatest moments of my lifetime.
Greatest moments.
We came in second to last place. And this is fucking
nice.
I didn't win any awards or trophies, but they made me a little like ribbon and shit, like number 1.
There you go.
And just because I scored 2 goals, we won second to last place in the division. And then my parents wanted me to go out on a good note, so I didn't do that again. It was just so depressing. We had, when I say loser kids, I mean they're not bad, but it's just fucking tough when you pass the ball and you're trying to be a team player, and they just like literally that can only stop it. They fall down and trip.
Sure.
And you're like, motherfucker, you don't want to pass anymore. So that last game, I just said, fuck it. Where there's no teamwork, coach, I'm taking it to my That's what in football, where you just call the wrong play, and then you have to stop and then find the right hole to go through for running back.
And then figure it out, It just went to shit. Like the play goes to shit, and you just got to figure it out,
Did you ever have that where you ran through the people?
Oh yeah, I can recall a couple of times in high school. So like my junior year in high school, I had just moved from Massachusetts to Las Vegas because my dad was in the military at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so I was a new kid on the block, tried out for the football team, made it to the starting running back position. So, did all that.
Damn.
And so which was great. And so that year, I think I rushed for like 3,000 and something yards and scored like 44 touchdowns.
Man,
and so that kind of wrote the pages. Yeah, that wrote the pages for the future, because I had coaches calling me for college. And my junior year, they thought I was a senior. And so I was like, guys, I got another year to play. But anyways, we had to play, and I can think of we were supposed to go to the right side. It was a sweep to the right. The whole right side gets demolished. I mean, demolished. Like nobody wanted to block at all. People must have tripped. Snipers in the building taking linemen out. They're falling all over their feet. The whole line who was supposed to block, it's supposed to be this wall, is not there. I just see colored jerseys of all the other team. And I'm like, oh shit. So I beeline back, go to the left side, right, where the play's not even to that side, but, you know, I had to sit the other way. Ended up running like a 45-yard touchdown.
Damn,
and I'm looking at my line, like, where the hell were you guys? Yeah. But the whole play went to shit. Like, I don't even know, like, how it even happened. I'm looking at the line, like, where did you guys, where were you at? This guy tripped over his laces.
They just
exactly. Just sacrificed you. Right. Just left me there. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was terrible.
You had to
terrible.
That's awesome. You recouped.
Then the first time I got hit in college, we ran another play, and I was playing slot running back. We were like on the 10-yard line, and we needed to go score. Yep. And so it's the first time I go in, and I'm like shaking in my boots because it's the first college play. You know, crowd's going wild. We need to score.
What'd they call?
And they called this like fake to the running back where he would run like some kind of dive, but they fake the handoff to him, and then I go in motion, and they're handing it to the slot wide receiver to go to the sweep on the left side.
Ooh.
And of course the dive goes up the middle, but you would think you'd run the dive because most people run dives, you know, when you're in the 10-yard line, 5-yard line, whatever. And so here I go to the side, and I take the ball, and so I'm like, great, didn't fumble, that's fantastic. And so here I see the goal line, running to the goal line, and the safety and the linebacker come downhill, and I just make contact for the first time. And this is when I noticed the big difference between high school ball and college, because you can shake and bake in college and in high school and spin and do all these wonderful moves, and guys don't even touch you,
good,
right? Yep. And you think you're sick, but man, when you get to college, linebackers run as fast as running backs do. Safeties run as fast as running backs do. You can shake all you want to. These guys are still right there. I got hit so hard that and I scored, but the crowd yelling, I couldn't hear them. The crowd was yelling. I probably had a concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my bell rung. Yeah. Oh, yeah, easily.
And so I see the difference between high school is that I was a big kid in high school. I think I weighed like 180, 200, and I was muscled at that time. But the college guys are like 250 to 280 and still running.
Oh, my God,
solid.
yeah.
It's not like...
And they're still fast.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. And they hit hard. They're like trying to... And that's why I'm like, I get so scared for wide receivers. You said you were that position because sometimes the coaches will... McCaffrey is this guy that used to play
McCaffrey.
They would throw it over the
I love
middle,
that guy.
And they would literally pop his helmet off. Like they would fucking go for broke.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's a little gentler in the NFL, but they still... Like, what was his name? Hamlin? He got a heart attack. Like they hit him cardiac wise. They like popped him so hard that heart attack almost died and shit. So it's no easy game. Yeah. So it's that level.
Oh no.
You take your college people you think are good, and they select only 800 people, the best of the best of the best.
The best of the best,
ultimate, and that's where the NFL is. Right. So your football comes to an end. You graduate, and then your father was there.
Yeah, Pops was there. He came to graduation and all that was fantastic. And then semi-pro went for a few years. Then I fully plugged into law enforcement. And
so this is the question, because you were an all-star, it sounds like, in high school and college. And you had to study a little bit because you were straight A's.
Sure.
Were you what back in the 80s we called a playa? Like, did you, the honeys there or what? Were you totally involved in that world or didn't have the time?
I would say I had a serious girlfriend. Probably all through high school, and then pretty much in college. Yeah, it's like just so I would, whoever I was dating at the time. It wasn't just like I wasn't just running through chicks. I was, I definitely had
like more serious
that I can recall some pretty, serious relationships. Right. So I dated like a basketball girl.
Like 30,000.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't trying to do all that. Right. Maybe you could have had the opportunity to, but I wasn't trying to pop out a bunch of kids either. So
that's cool. So
that's a responsibility.
You only had one or two. That's cool. That's better than like Magic Johnson, Irvin just like went through like 20,000 trying to beat Irving and
20. Right. So you got better stats with women than you do in the game you play.
That's sad. Yeah. So
it's sad.
So to transition to that, you get out of football. You liked it in college. Did they give you any?
Yeah, I loved it.
Because when I went to to be a male nurse and shit, we had to go actually in clinicals. Did you have something called clinicals or on time with the police when you were going through the college classes? Like, how did you know which?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, so college, not so much in college. It was when I went to the academy.
Oh, okay.
When I went to 6 to 7 months of the academy, right, and you're just absorbing everything in law enforcement you can get. And then they did like something like a clinicals, if you will, where at the end it was just like a week long, and there was little versions of it throughout the academy, but there's this week at the very end, and they go rent or just use a military base that has like housing and all of that there, but they don't utilize the housing anymore. The area shut down. And so then we would get all the patrol cars, and they get a bunch of, police officers and people to assist, and they role play. And then you've got to go through all these scenarios, and you've got to handle them correctly, and you get points and stuff like that. And if, so you have to, a domestic violence call. So you roll up with your partner. You've got to park in the right spot. You've got to, you split the two people up, make sure your partner's talking to one person, you're talking to the other. You got to handle the whole situation.
There truly is a psychology behind that. That's why I think you have an advantage.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
My question for you is, what Hell Week is every year in high school football, and I can't even imagine the college level. And so the military has like special forces, we go through that. And then the football level is Hell Week of just 1 or 2 weeks of absolute muscle failure. The ice won't cut it. I remember just being able to, my grandparents they wanted to take me to the hospital, and I'm like, no, Grandma, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, I just gotta sit in an ice bucket for forever.
The police academy, what level would you say was that compared to Hell Week?
Man, that's a great question. I would say the worst Hell Week I ever experienced physically was in college. I mean, you're literally, you'd have 4 to 5 practices a day, right? And when you're not in practice, all you're doing is laying in these ice buckets with just to try to get back your muscles.
Down,
Yeah, just because you're about to go practice again in like 2 hours. So you have enough to get a snack real quick, get some food in you, sit in the ice buckets, then you're back on the field running again. And so that Hell Week was hellacious. The Hell Week in the police academy wasn't as bad physically because there's some mental to it, and you're doing all kinds of stuff. There was some physical as well because you'd have to fight. We had boxing matches. You had to beat up, say the suspect or whatever in the scenario decides that he's going to, the role player is a methamphetamine cracked out bad guy, and then he decides to fight you. So there was some physical stuff to it. So when I went to SWAT school was 2 weeks long. There was some physical stuff there, but I would say college football was probably the worst Hell Week of all of it.
So it wasn't as bad.
I couldn't walk.
The thing that would scare me, because I was talking to someone about the academy, police academy,
right,
is that just for CSPD, Colorado Springs. Is that you spend the first 3 months doing physical stuff and maybe learning fighting, and I don't know jiu-jitsu if they teach you any of that on the ground stuff, but the didactics or the paperwork, because you have to memorize a book, and we're going to call it the law. And there's these little people on YouTube now, and they didn't have YouTube back in the day when I was younger. I don't know if they had it for you.
Right.
They watch people be absolute assholes to the police officers in their car. I'm not rolling down my window. I'm not participating. I'm not answering your questions. And I'm like, come on, just be fucking nice to the. Did you have to did you have any problems with that, learning everything when they went through the scenarios, or did you have it memorized? It was pretty easy. They gave you cards and.
Yeah. So when I went in, and I've talked to some CSPD guys and some El Paso County Sheriff guys that my dad knows or whatever, and I hear that theirs is a cakewalk compared to ours. Ours was a literal boot camp, and they crushed everything together. And all the tests you had to take, and all the physicality, the running and the training and all that, it all happened in one. So you had to keep up with your tests, as well as keep up with, and so everything you had 2 times. If you double tap failed on anything, you were out.
What?
You get thrown out. Yeah, exactly. So if you took a test and you failed, you had one more time to take it throughout that week. And if you failed it again, oh, by the way, and then throughout that week, there's other tests. So whatever the next test is that's up, you got to study for that one and the one you failed, right?
And then if you double tap attrition rate and shit, Jesus.
Yeah. So if you fail anything, a test at the range, a test in martial arts, a test in ground fighting, jiu-jitsu, like you said, or any of the clinical, learning, whatever tactics or whatever police officer safety stuff that you learned, it's all in one. And you have 6 6 months of that. If you double tap in anything, you're gone. That's it.
So you
And
guys
you've got
started
to
out with,
apply for
let's
another
say,
class.
137 people. Did you have like
Yep.
10 people, 20 people? Like how many people dropped or got it through attrition or quit, rang the bell, whatever you want to say?
Yeah. So we started off with probably about 160, 170, and I think we graduated like 90. And I don't even think the 90 that graduated, that wasn't even still who should have graduated. There was some guys in that should have been cut too. But they're trying to graduate.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
I'm like, you passed? Are you kidding me? And graduation day, you get your gun and your badge, and you're like, holy shit, they gave this guy a gun. And no one will ever know that at the range when we were there the other day, you shot at the instructor and just missed him. Yeah.
One of my questions was, did the LAPD at the time, did they have a specific like Colt, Ruger, Glock, Sig Sauer? Like, is there any special gun they made you train with, or did you guys have 12 different guns, different rifles?
No.
Like, what did they train you on?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. So you got, so I worked, and so each agency was different. LA County Sheriffs, they had Berettas, and that's all you could use. In training. We had Glocks, and that's all you could use in training. And then once you graduate from the academy, they give you a list, and on the list are the guns that are certified for that department only for what you can carry. So what we could carry wasn't the same as the sheriffs. What the sheriffs carried wasn't the same as LAPD versus Orange County versus Riverside County. Everybody's different.
Whoa, I didn't realize.
So,
yeah. So did they mix it up? Did they have you try 45.38 ACP, like 9 millimeters? Like, what were you guys trained with?
In the academy, we only had Glocks, and you had a choice between a 9, a 40, or a 45.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
That was it.
My Glock 45, I can't hit shit. I mean, it's an awesome gun, love it. But, like the 45's too much power, the recoil and all that. And I'm a big guy, I can fucking hold it. But 9 millimeter by far the most accurate. And then the .38 ACP, it's like a Walther. It's what James Bond used. The bullet is so small.
Okay. Right.
You can hit anything with it. You can fucking run as a tech. But a 45, you're like, the power's there. Oh, you'll take them down if you hit them.
Yeah.
And my Delta buddy said, if you can hit anything at 25 yards with a handgun, it's damn impressive. And if you're moving at all, you're a rock star. You deserve a fucking medal.
Yeah, that changes the game real quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so you go through that, you pass. Was your dad there for that?
Yep, he was there for that. I was supposed to be the honor recruit, but they actually, so that means you're top notch and everything. But they actually, unlucky for me, gave it to this other guy because he was such a shithead throughout the entire training camp or whatever the case may be, that he fixed himself. And so because he fixed himself, that was his reward.
Most improved.
Yeah, exactly. Most improved. Yep. So anyways.
You should have taken him out.
Yep. So, Oh yeah, I wanted to.
So here's the thing.
He was in my department too.
Oh, fuck. So you spend 6 months, and for CSPD, they spend 3 additional months after you graduate as a new recruit. Right. And they've had this one guy, Nathan Willem, Fillon.
Okay.
He was in, my favorite sci-fi series of all time.
Okay.
Serenity was the name of the movie, and...
Anyways, yeah.
He's this old white guy.
I know what you're talking about.
Firefly. Oh, freaking love that shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's now a recruit, a new cop, and he has to go through just all. He's 41, and everyone else is like in their 30s, and they're like telling him, "No, you need to hold your gun like that." Just treat them like shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So first 3 months,
that's what we had too.
Was it like that, or were they nice to you, or were they like, "Listen, rookie"?
No, they treat you like shit. Yeah, so you come out of the academy. You come out of the academy after 6 months. Say you were a stud in the academy. So after all your, just like boot camp for the for military, drill instructors spitting in your face, calling you a punk all day long, making you do push-ups. You finally graduate from that. Then you go in and then, like you said, ours was longer. Ours was about 6 months.
Jesus.
If you were training officers, and so you're with the training officer constantly for 6 months to be evaluated, but now in the real world. So now you're handling calls with your training officer. You're going to shootings. You're going to bank robberies. You're handling everything to expose you to all that you can. This is real. Yeah, this is real. This is real. And so you're a rookie. You're a piece of shit. You don't know shit. And if you think you know shit, you still don't know shit. And if you're cocky, you get your ass kicked. So yeah, you do that for
Oh
6
my
months.
God, you're like kissing ass. You're like everything they say you laugh
Oh
at.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
buying them
Oh
lunch
yeah,
and
you get
stuff.
laughed at. Yeah, you're buying lunches on you, rookie. Ha ha ha. Yeah, whatever.
And if they
Yep.
say a
So
joke
yep.
that's not funny, you're like, oh my God, that's the funniest thing ever. You're like,
It's so funny.
kissing ass.
Yeah. Oh, you're like kissing
Picking
ass,
up
and
their
yeah. Oh,
laundry
it's
and shit and
terrible.
fucking, the
Yeah, yeah,
hazing.
yeah. Go pick up my dry cleaning. Yes, hazing. That's exactly what it is. Hazing.
Fuck.
Yep.
So you
So
start
you do
over.
that for 6 months. Yep, and then you go, and then you're by yourself
So at
for
this
the
point,
rest of the year.
I asked someone else this. At this point, when in the academy you're doing your shit, they don't all of a sudden they're
Right.
like, hey, look at Max. Max is hot shit. I think he belongs on X. Like they don't pick people out.
Sure.
You have to go through your rookie 6 months time.
Yeah.
Then you have to spend how much on the beat, like the cop, like a specific job. Like what do you start out with? Is there any special people that get chosen at that point, or you still have to spend your time on the streets?
No. You're supposed to do a year in patrol. So let me tell you what happened to me. You're supposed to do a year in patrol after all the rookie shit. You're doing a year in patrol by yourself, and they monitor you just to see. Now you're handling everything alone. So they just want to make sure that everything you've learned from your training officer, you can do it on your own while you're out in the field. Well, for me, I got done with training out in the field, and I was blessed. I actually got to go right to SWAT from there because I was actually so squared away, according to them. I don't know if I really was, but according to them, I was squared away enough. So they took me. I immediately went to SWAT and the gang unit right after I got out of. I was like the first African American and the first rookie to do it ever, like in the history of the department, to go that fast. Usually, you're supposed to go to patrol for 1 to 2 to 3 years, and then you can pick a specialized unit.
And that was my question. And so, damn. And so there are people that do forensics. Are they cops or are they just little scientist people out of college?
You know what's funny is some agencies, they are cops. So like I've noticed on the South, big time in like Florida, they carry guns. I don't know what their calls for service are, but they appear to be police officers as well.
Huh.
But in LA, the forensics guys are just scientist forensics guys.
That's cool.
They aren't police officers. They don't carry guns or anything.
And so, and I don't know all the, I was talking to someone, they had so many jobs they were going through, like, like
they got everything.
People that run the streets. And then I was asking about like if there's a Lakers game or a basketball Denver Nuggets, like do the police have to do it in uniform or can they just do it in uniform off duty and still get paid? And so he was saying, no, it's really like you just have to, they have private security for that. The cops don't do that. But I was thought like LA Lakers would hire the cops to do shit for more money.
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they want a law enforcement presence, and they want you to look law enforcement like. Or sometimes they will hire guys like we did all the Rose Bowl stuff. So because Pasadena was right there, so we did all the college games, all that, so any of that, and most of that they wanted you in uniform because they want you to be seen, so that when people are drinking and if they want to act up, they see there are police officers out there with uniform.
No, I'm gonna fucking say. And so,
but if you worked narcotics or something like that, you stayed low key. You dressed down in your jersey or whatever. You look like a normal person, and you're also on the job too.
So my question is: we did Hell Week, we went through the academy. Did the SWAT have a tryout physically, or was it just shooting, or was it what was that like?
Yes. Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, they have so you have now put your bid in to either go to SWAT or they've offered you a shot, which is few and far between. So you have to do a big training or a big test session. You do shooting, a lot of tactical shooting behind cars and movement, no stagnant stuff because this is all now SWAT. And then you get points scored, and so you have to pass that. And then you go to the physical side, and you've got to run this hellacious obstacle course, which was copied from the Navy SEALs by senior guys that invented this thing before. Yeah, it's insane. And so you've got to do that, and that is just ball busting. I want to throw up. I hate you for putting me through this. Why am I doing this? Questioning yourself. This is stupid. And you got to do it in full combat gear with a flak vest on. that weighs like, I don't know, 35 pounds, 30 pounds, or whatever the case may be. And so while you're doing all of that running, it makes it even worse. So you got to pass that. You got to pass both. If you fail one and pass the other, you're out. So you have to pass both in order to be invited in. So I passed both, thank God. Now you're on the SWAT team as a rookie.
And do you think you think that football thing helps?
Oh, big time. I think that just, learning how to push your body, knowing how to, ignore the pain, all the stuff your coaches taught you, even how to prepare for it, I think really came into play. If you were an athlete, football, basketball, any of that, that would help you for sure.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that was a big benefit.
And what gun did you run through when you were doing handgun? Did you have, what was your choice, by the way, when you were carrying?
Glock 40. I carried the Glock 40.
Really?
I like the, I like the punching power of the 40.
Because it's more, but you were still just as accurate?
No, I was, I mean, I could draw my name with a 9mm, literally. But I think that the stopping power behind the 9mm wasn't as good.
Psychologically,
and so the 40,
you wanted something to stop. That's cool.
Yeah, I wanted some punch power, but I wanted the rounds too. So I think in Glock, correct me if I'm wrong, you only lose like 2 rounds when you go from 9mm to 40. But when you go to a 45, you lose a lot of rounds.
Well, the problem is, I don't think they're going to allow you to carry what the gangs do. Like those extended fucking cartels.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, the cartel shit, right.
12 inches and shit.
Right. Yeah. He's got a little midget carrying the other half of the shit, and he's like firing off rounds. Yeah, like, are you kidding me? Right. His weaponry is better than what I got.
So did they have you use any rifles out there, like the Marlin, or what do they use for practice?
So we had it's a great question. We had shotguns, the Benelli, because it was you can switch Benelli to semi-auto. Yeah, so that was pretty. And then Mossbergs, and then when we did rifles, they were M4s or Colts, and then we also bumped up to H&K G36Cs. Which were dope. Yeah, those are really dope.
Literally in my old Rainbow Six games. I mean, literally, those are like freaking Call of Duty shit. I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they were beautiful. We actually got
scopes. What did you guys get to use for scopes? Like, did you guys
great
get
question.
NX8, like Nexus 8, like Navy SEAL scopes, or were you guys $100 limit? You know what I'm saying? SWAT should be top of the line.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's top of the line. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, honestly, when the team put it together, we got to vote on it. But we had 2 senior guys. One was an ex-Navy SEAL. The other one was a Ranger, an ex-Ranger, and they got to actually just make the decision. And so they put the whole kits together for everybody. So we voted on the H&K G36Cs, and then they got scopes that had, the ATOG sighting system on it, or the red dots reticle or whatever. I don't know the names of them, but yeah, they were pretty top notch. And we were able to use asset forfeiture money. And so anything that our narcotics team confiscated in undercover operations, we use that.
That's awesome. So it wasn't even getting charged
that made the budget better.
Oh, that's awesome. That's wise right there. Anyone that thought of that is brilliant. Instead of having to taxpayer money, you just start busting people out, and so you guys get rewarded and shit back to that's awesome though.
Oh yeah.
And then let's see. So they have these tiers in the military. Tier 1 is Navy SEALs. Tier 2 is like just the normal special forces. And then Tier 3 is just like regular Army shit. I did not know this. I found this out recently talking to one of my buddies, is that Tier 1 Navy SEALs Delta Force Rangers are at that same level of. I didn't realize the Ranger. So when you said Ranger now,
I didn't know that either.
I'm very impressed because they get the job done, and the normal special forces guys are just like to go out and teach the little villagers how to do stuff. So they're good, very impressive. But the Rangers are the shit, along with the SEALs and Delta. And so anyone can go in.
You're right.
But anyway, so you said those are your SWAT team people. That's who you want on there. You want people that had really physical football people, SF guys, people that can pull through no matter what, and you're going to support your team. And just like when you threw down as a kid, you got to throw down with the blue now. Like it's the blue line, and you got to protect your backs, because the gangs are out there. They have some of that. Like, I think in the cartels down in Mexico, they pretty much 100,000 people for the Sinaloa cartel, that's like impressive.
Okay.
Like the state can't even fuck with them. But in LA,
Right.
it's a little more compartmentalized, so it's not like the cops. I think have more. When you bring in a armored carrier, the SWAT has some shit that can like punch through a house. That's pretty much gonna take over. Like you
Right,
guys have
right.
some
Yeah,
more
that's pretty much.
punching power.
Unless you got a missile launcher or something like that, it don't even take missile launching. Missiles and things of that small. Small, bigger arms, as you would call them, like grenade launchers and stuff like that. Now you come out with some kind of tank or something, we might be in trouble. But these are like ACP or whatever they call them, APC. Like those, they pretty much we can drop special forces in.
Yep.
Yeah, with the armor and all that. Yeah, they're pretty much versions of those.
One of the things
that
I saw
the military uses.
Specialty made for SWAT in LA. It was so impressive to me.
Yeah.
They brought this vehicle up, and it was all this made up shit. They shot this, we'll call it a harpoon. The harpoon goes through any fucking type of wall.
Oh, yeah.
It shoots out, and all of a sudden opens like an umbrella. Yep. It's like a big claw with 4 umbrella things that come out.
Yeah.
And they literally pull the wall away. I'm like, that's the shit right there, because they're not expecting that. Boom, and all of a sudden it shocks them with that pressure, and then all of a sudden they literally 3 seconds later pull the wall down. You got people pouring into the sides to cover the room. I don't care who you are. That's going to fucking stun you.
Yeah.
That's shit.
And you write a cool little name on it. We all name it something really funny, so that when it comes into your garage or whatever, and your little gang members are having a little party, smoking up and stuff, and then you see something that says "Mama's bitch," comes right through your garage, and then rips the door off, and now you're all sitting there exposed, with 20 of us all armed to the teeth.
And with armor
you want to take a picture, but you can't. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Yeah.
And I think some of the armor we had in the military was so poor that because they went with the lowest bidder, that the parents were actually at one time, and they don't like to really talk about this because we got in trouble for doing.
Sure.
But the parents, the kids would call home like, "Mom, they're piercing our armor," and so parents would buy this armored shit that was sold in America, and the troops started using that. But the command is like, well, this doesn't make the army look good, so yeah, we're going to ixnay it. We're making it illegal now for anyone to send over and wear the armor. We don't approve.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, because they have lighter, more superior, but the army is just like, if you don't use it's just, I was talking to my prepper, Lieutenant Colonel, that trauma nurse practitioner.
Okay.
She was what was it? She bought a duffel bag recently that had a zipper down the side. And when I went to Iraq 2006, 2007, I bought that duffel bag. I bought a couple of them with a zipper. I show up, I'm like, look at this, bitches. I can get in it. And they said, nope, it's not Army standard and you can't use it. I'm like, but this is so much smarter. This is wise. We should move ahead to get to propel the Army forward. And they're like, nope, it's not 1970 circa. And I'm like, fuck my life. And so,
1970, right?
Yeah, no shit. Vietnam, fucking still written on there.
Right.
So she's saying the new troop, because that's right. Her grandson just graduated as 11 Bravo, like an infantryman. And the new duffel bags have that big zipper, and on the ends of the duffel bags, they have a handle, because when you stack up 300 duffel bags and you have to pull them out, there's nothing to hold on to, so it's a clusterfuck. And so anyways, they came up with these new ideas that, I bought back in the day, like 20 years ago, but they're like, no, we don't like it. And so now they're whoever thought of it got an award and got a promotion because, no one's ever thought of this before. I'm a genius. I'm like, motherfucker.
Right. And
so,
you're like, I did that 20 years ago, you dumb shit.
No shit. In SWAT, if you guys saw something or had a better idea, would it transpire into actionable things you used? Or did you guys have to have the same thing like, well, I'm in charge and we've been doing SWAT for 37 years? Or did you guys actually, those old grandpas that can't get out of the chair and they're running through? Yeah. And so did you guys have
that ability
question to change things on the spot?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right. So my team leader was the arms guy, and then his partner, and he had been in SWAT, like multiple times. He had gotten in, gotten out over his like 25-year career.
Jesus.
He had been in like 5 times. He had served more than anybody else. Like they probably were gonna just, you know, inaugurate him into like
Hall
SWAT
of Fame
forever
shit.
type.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, right. But he was a pretty squared away guy, so he had his ideas. But if you came with something that was legit, made sense, and we had the budget for it, we could get it. So I would say maybe a little better than what you experienced in the military. But yeah, there were those things where it was like, yeah, sorry, that might, that would work better, but that costs too much, so go fuck off. And then you could buy it if it was on the list. You could buy it for yourself and use it if it was on the list of things that were certified for the department based on our range master and what he agreed on and whatever. There was like some pre-listed things that you could get, and so you know he had to clear that, because obviously we had to go to court anytime there was a shooting or anything like that. So you have to, you know, you got to deal with the politics of it too.
That's true. I didn't think of that. So there's this stuff. I won't talk about our special forces in America because that's kind of, but these people in Israel, they have like, the special forces are pretty damn good. They're the ones that came up with the Uzi. They make their own shit and they come up with stuff on the spot. And so they have this camera now. It's like fucking 15 years ago. It's not like brand new, but they have a camera and it's a ball. And there's like 26 cameras on it. And so they throw in a stun grenade, we'll call it, with more pressure because they don't have like we have. Like, we don't want to hurt the terrorists. They don't give a fuck. So the Israelis throw the stun grenade, then they throw this ball in. They can spin it, they can roll it on the floor. And the camera,
I've seen that.
The camera goes in, and then once it goes in, they literally, their computer will put it together for them, and bam, they have a picture of the room, 360, and they see everything. So you guys, if you saw something like that, could you guys get it? Or is that too much like, oh, we shouldn't do that because the lawyers will never allow this? And
I think we could. Yeah, we could. Are we talking Mossad? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
for Israel,
different things.
The Mossad?
Different. Well, they have. There's so many different things. We'll just call it Mossad and Shin Bet and things like that.
Sure. Right. And so, if you could get something like that, or say you wanted to do it yourself and get it, or the team puts it together. As far as I know, that would be legit. We clicked up a lot with FBI Task Force, their SWAT team, and they would help us out a lot.
What?
And so they bring like. Yeah, we cooperate. In fact, when I was in, there was a big movement where stuff was going on. And long story short, the president gave the federal folks money, but they had to spend it on city cops to help out with stuff. So whatever that was, guns, toys, training, whatever, they had to click up with us and use that money to take down city bad guys. And so when I was in, that was pretty hand in hand. They would help out a lot. So, you know, SWAT teams, I did a 30-man location hit on a search warrant, and we took down like 30 blood gang members at one time, but we had to hit the houses all at the exact same time.
So
we had
brilliant.
6 FBI SWAT teams and a whole bunch of other agencies helping out, and so we all had to hit at the same time, so nobody called anybody and alerted them, and bad guys talking to bad guys, you know, you get screwed. So the FBI guy, SWAT team that was with my guys, he had a drone, and he put the drone up, and then he had that, you know, nice little screen that he's walking with, and he's getting scannings of the backyard. One guy had they had the FBI helicopter, and the helicopter was synced into his camera, like his little iPod thing or whatever he had.
That's brilliant.
iPad, So now he's got, you know, he's getting a 360 view based on what the helicopter is doing, and he's, you know, going around in circles or whatever, and he's getting all that view from, you know, the helicopter. So they got the toys, man.
And the thermals, I don't know. Street, like normal SWAT, I always think of thermals, but I know the FBI has that where they can see the house, and like, well, that was back in Blue Thunder. That was back in the 80s that movie was made, so it's not like this is old technology and shit, so it's not like I'm divulging anything secret. But so you're in SWAT at this time, and then how do you get involved in at the same time going undercover? Is that just part of it? Because if you're in the same LAPD precinct, and people can recognize you as, I mean, because you're a big guy, people are going to be able to see you and see what you look like. You're noticeable.
Right.
You're on the beat for a year, so you go around your area. When you go to SWAT and go undercover, did you have to go to a different area because people recognize you? Like, well, man, that's the guy that arrested me last week. Like, that type of thing. That's what I was worried about.
Yes, solid question. That's a great question. So what happened is, you're right. So I work SWAT and I work gang unit, but I only work black gangs. I work the Bloods and the Crips. So those guys I could never go undercover with unless it was like in another state or something like that, because all the Crips and Bloods in our area knew who I was.
Oh,
but
fuck.
I could do undercover with biker gangs or like Hispanic gangs. I would help them out. So I go undercover for them, buy dope and stuff like that. And yeah, that would work for them. But yeah, not with any African American gangs,
So
because
you
that was
never
my
went
focus.
undercover per se with the black gangs then, because they would recognize you.
Correct. I did Hispanics. Yeah, I did Hispanics, Asians, biker gangs. You know, whatever. It would have to be another entity, because yeah, the black gang members pretty much I'm in their face every day.
And you didn't have
so I'm the guy.
of Crips or Bloods on you already. You didn't have any tattoos revealing. You were just a straight clean.
Yeah. No, I had tattoos. But not anything that would have kind of divulged too much.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I had tattoos. So, you know, like when you sign up for something like that, they actually click up with a company that is great with all your media pages and stuff. They take all that down. They pretty much erase you from the internet. Yeah, from the internet, so that you don't exist on the internet, so that nobody can backtrack you and look and say, oh, hey, I found this guy that played college football back in the day, whatever the case may be. He's a freaking undercover cop now, you know, and then you get burned. So they take everything down. They go through the whole internet for you, and the police department pays that company to do that, and they were actually pretty legit. So, yep, they erase you pretty much.
Yeah, my buddy's erased, and I'm trying to get him on the show, but I can't use his name, and I can't use... I had a picture, and I drew a cartoon of him for what he is, and even then he's like, I don't know, my friend. I'm Arab. I do not like this. Yeah, because once you
right. Yeah, once it's out there, bro, you can't take it back.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's getting killed or abducted, and he's scared and shit.
Oh yeah, man.
Depending on what level you're at, like, so do you fear, like, you didn't go undercover then with those? So you weren't like, you're not fearful anyone followed you because they knew who you were already, and they knew you were a police officer.
No, they hunted us like dogs every day.
Are you serious?
They did. Oh, yeah. You got to think about it. We're locking up their commanders and chiefs. We're getting them fed time. I'm dealing with DEA and ATF. So now I'm getting their guys to come work undercover for me to help me out, right? So we're doing big-time dope cases. And, you get fed time. You got to do 85% of your time, right? In the state, say they give you 15 years, you get out in 3 with good behavior, right?
Jesus
Christ. The feds, they don't give a shit. You can give up the cartel, and they don't give a shit. You are going to do 85% of whatever time it is they gave you. So I get the feds to help me out.
15%. Fuck.
Yeah, so the leniency is 15%. Exactly. Well, 15% doesn't mean shit if you got 100 years.
No shit.
It doesn't matter. So these guys, we'd start locking them up and giving them fed time and stuff like that. I've been followed home. I had to make sure family, the kids, there were guns all around the house. So my wife could get to guns anytime she needed to. Whatever the case may be.
Did you know Barbara when you were your current wife? Was she with you at that time?
No.
Okay.
No. I met her out here when I moved out here about
so after
5 years ago. Yeah.
So
I divorced my wife out there.
You could die at this shit. Like they could fucking track you down.
I have an active contract still out on my life. Me, my partner, and 3 other guys. I got shot over it. They came after me about 4 times in different settings, and I always carried a gun or 2 on me, and so they were unsuccessful. They put a hit out, and they would just have all the little homies coming after you, and you don't have to pay little homies anything. Oh, here's $1,000 in a bag of drugs, and they'll take out anybody.
Oh,
so
fuck.
I had all these little gang members. No, it's not a big hit at all. You know what I'm saying? So I got all these little
street cred right there. If they can,
that's me. You take a cop out, that you're absolutely right. It's street cred galore. So I had these guys gunning for me. Well, anyways, long story short, after dodging several attempts on my life, one time they followed me home. I picked up the tail. So I take them to Crip neighborhood in LA. They were Bloods. And so they had to deal with the Crips. So that was a good little setup I pulled on them. But I mean, they're following you everywhere. And there's so many of them. You can't keep tabs on these guys. I saw them in Vegas one time. I was out with the family playing a semi-pro football game championship. And I see 5 gang members coming. I'm like, I know these guys. Why are we in the exact same casino? Like they had to follow me.
Fuck.
So anyways, one time they pulled a drive-by on me. And I never saw it coming. Took a round in the leg, a 40 cal hollow point, severed the artery. I bled out, had to have 2 blood transfers. Almost died. And the Doogie Howser type doctor at USC Medical was like, "Hey, dude, I think I can save your leg and your life. You want me to take a shot at it?" And of course, I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead,"
What do you
because
mean
they were
take
going
a
to
shot
amputate
at
it.
it? What the fuck? I don't. Yeah, that's
Well,
a 50-50
my leg,
shot. Fuck,
was
I
right. My
understand.
leg was more the 50-50, right? But right, yeah. I want you to save me. Yes, please do.
No shit, save
So
my
after
leg.
a 14-hour surgery, he saved it. He pulled as much shrapnel out as he could, and
That's fucking
he had to
incredible.
cauterize the artery because it was pouring blood, and so I made it. So, but yeah, man, they just keep coming. I mean, they're like flies. They just keep coming till they get you. So it's like,
Damn, your life was
if
literally
anybody
on the
from
line.
there knew that. Oh yeah,
Shit.
every day. You now sign up for a new type of shit. Like as a cop, you signed up for some shit, and there's going to be some shit. But when you go into specialized units that are really in the shit, taking out bad guys, they're gunning for you.
You can't
because they know if they take out.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The gang hangout when I was a kid was a place called Magic Mountain.
Okay.
And you can't take your family
I remember
to Magic
Mountain.
or Knott's Berry Farm because they could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you have to
they could be
mall.
anywhere.
You have to limit what you do. Like I never thought of that. Your whole life is
Oh,
working
yeah.
for the government. Damn.
And think about it. There's say there's 100,000 Crips in LA, right? There's one of me. So for me to memorize all of their faces versus them memorizing my face,
colors,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So they all know me, but I don't know all of them, by face value. So yeah, you're always looking over your shoulder.
The 70s, people like to give certain gangs or clubs or what do you want to call them, they try to lessen their how much damage they do to society, give themselves a good look. But the Hells Angels in California in the 1970s, there was a standing order for any angel that raped a female cop on duty got a $5,000 like gift bonus type shit.
Not yet.
That was
right.
That fucking scared me. Like, damn, these women just sign up to be a cop, but they have no idea there's fucking people out there trying to do bad stuff to them. And that's not special unit. That's just fucking female cops in the 70s. And I don't know if that was a big thing, like if females really did police officer, back in the day. But it's a lot more prevalent now. I don't know if the gangs really go after that, but yeah, kind of scary shit.
Yeah, it can be scary, and I feel like women did a lot of that just to make it through the ranks because of the sexism within the police department, which is sad. Yeah. But they would take huge risks to just get clout and get regular, regular promotions that guys wouldn't have to do, to make sergeant or whatever. But the women had to do it, and so it's unfortunate, But yeah,
if a regular police officer cop gets shot and killed, how much money would they get for the family? Is there like the military gets $400,000?
Yeah.
Do they have something like that in LA or?
Yes, they do. I am not sure what exactly the price is. A couple of my buddies have died, and so they've made sure that families have gotten the money. I don't know what that fund, how much is in that fund, but it's set up, to essentially set the family up for the rest of their lives as the kids are, being raised without a father. So yeah,
Does SWAT get
I would guess it'd be similar.
Does SWAT?
I do believe yes.
Because you guys,
you have an at-risk fee.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, you have an at-risk fund, and so like your at-risk pay bumps your pay grade up, so you can make more money because you're at risk at a higher level or on a daily basis. And then I think you do get a little more in your bonus package. If you were to pass away from a SWAT operation or whatever, you would get your family would get more than just the average street cop.
What scared me is, and it reminded me of Tango and Cash, really old movie. So I had this, I was really young in the military. I was like 19 or 20 years. I was in D.C.
Oh, wow.
There was this white guy that went to church. We were at a mixed church, black and white, which was really hard for me to find. But anyways, so going to a mixed church, the white guy had a long beard, looked totally scummy. After knowing him for a few years, I find out he is undercover cop. Undercover with drugs. And the only person that knew his real identity was the governor of not the governor. It was the governor. So the people, they had his driver's license and all his real information in the governor's safe because he was like deep. And so if something ever happened, he gets arrested. They don't know who he is, like, because he's not on the books anywhere.
Yeah.
The only really person, if he
Right.
has to go to prison, he's going, because no one, he has to say
Yeah.
some special. Only the governor truly knows who he is. And I'm like, mother of God, what if the governor
Yeah.
dies? They better be able to get in that fucking safe, or his whole life is ruined.
Get him that safe.
But he had this car, and in our parking lot, he showed it to me because this just totally amazed me. This was like a bank robber type thing, where the license plate, it was a triangular thing. And so he pressed a button, and all of a sudden his car, the license plate would flip, bing, and it would flip again, bing. So there was 3 different license plates on his rear of the vehicle. So if he had to turn a corner, switch the plates in case he was being followed. It was just like, my God.
Followed. Yeah.
His only real time in life was at this little church. Everything else was selling, buying drugs, and DC is no joke, just like LA and New York.
Oh, yes.
Like, these people are ready for
DC and Baltimore.
No, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
They made a movie about Baltimore called
it is called
shit. You know
The Wire.
The Wire. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and
The
so,
Wire.
That was deep. And so I was like to watch those kind of shows, and just like the cop shows, and my mom was a cop, but she was too kind of racist, and so she got out of the cop thing, and then she went into IRS, and she was so good that she worked for Elliot Ness Division, like taking down criminals and cartel and shit.
Sure.
That she had to go every week and stay in a different hotel, if not every couple nights. Different hotels around America, top-notch places, different cars, top-notch cars. She had a GS 16, 17, 18. She kept getting up there. She was like a 2-star general. But she was so good at what she did. She was so violent. Like when people were, like there was a PCP guy one time at the police place. She worked at Berkeley and some other Irvine. She worked at different police departments around there. But one of the PCP guys, a huge white guy, like 280, fucking rippled in muscles, and he was disrespecting and hurting other police officers. She came in and she knew martial arts, so she took out his knee and took him down. And they're like, this little female. This little firecracker is fucking short, but she knows her, like, badass martial arts. So she fucking took him down and saved everyone. And so they're like, mother of God. So when she went to the IRS, they put her in a special division to not only fight, and it was just, different world. And so to get into those secret things, like there's different varying levels of, but I often wondered, do the police, this is a question I've always had. It's a new thing. We probably didn't have it back in after 2011. There was something called Homeland Security. You can get paid 3 to 4 to 5, 6 times as much as a normal police FBI. Were you guys aware of Homeland Security back then?
Yes. So when Homeland Security came out, I don't know if we knew right away, because obviously that's a federal thing. So they may have came out and they were a secret for a while. But I do know that once, at some point, they made themselves available to us, because that whole concept was basically we need to network and put feelers out everywhere. And we fucked up in 9/11 because one hand knew this, the other hand did not know what the right hand knew or whatever. And so there's pieces of intel that are not out there that if we would have all put together what, this person knew and FBI knew and CIA knew, whatever, we could have stopped some things. So they wanted to get past that.
Would have been better.
Right. And so then they exactly. So they started taking and making what you would call in the military joint operation units. And so you would have Homeland Security, leading the way or whatever, but the unit would have, let's say, 3 narcotics cops in it, 3 FBI guys, perhaps a CIA consultant, and then some tactical guys from SWAT teams. Now you got, but on different levels, and so you've got the state involved, you got the city involved, you got the federal government involved, and we're all working together, helping each other out, so that on every level, bases are covered.
Now I
worked in FBI task force.
This is kind of
for a while.
Impartiality, kind of like, I don't know how to describe this, because I became Mexican October 5th, 2022. So I'm all proud of that and shit. But there is a normal gang, let's call them the Hells Angels, the Crips, the Bloods. There's Sereños for like the Mexican gangs. And so we have the cartel, which I take a step up. They're more organized. They have better money and stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely. Was the police department, SWAT, Undercover, FBI, was there ever fear when dealing with that level of sophistication? Like, did you guys just leave them alone, or did the feds really go after them and you had to get included? Like, was there ever different varying levels of how fearful you guys were with different levels of crime or syndication?
Yeah, so Yeah, no, that's a great question. So what would happen is, say, so I'm undercover, right? And I'm working a street level narcotics dealer. Anytime I pop a street level narcotics dealer, I don't want to stop there, right?
Yeah.
So I want to work my way up to his supplier and his supplier.
Oof.
But as I'm climbing that ladder, I need help because my jurisdiction now is expanded and I need help. So what they do is, once it got big enough to now jump jurisdictional lines, you would now tap into with a group called HIDA, and those guys were a unit that had street level narcotics guys in it, police officers, but it also had DEA in it, and some FBI consultant folks, and as well as some other federal agencies. So these guys come in and they help you. They got better toys, better money, and they've got agents that can literally follow a guy, jump on an airplane because he jumped on an airplane, jump on a boat because he jumped on a boat, and jump from line to line as he travels and goes wherever. Then if he jumps and goes out of the country, there are agents that can follow him out of the country. And so that allowed for us to now build.
Here in LA, he goes to frickin' Arizona. He has a whole new,
sure. A whole new district, right? So the guys like Haida, they would follow him. So I get a hold of Haida. I say, hey, look, I got this guy. I got a kilo of coke out of his joint, but I went up on a wiretap with him, and I know who his supplier is. He's going to his supplier to buy 5 kilos, and that guy goes to Mexico and re-ups in Mexicali on a 20-kilo type level. Cool, let's get together. We have meetings. We put an operation together. I do my thing in LA, handle all of that. And then the Haida guys go, when he jumps on that airplane and goes to Arizona or in a car, they follow him pound for pound to Arizona, everywhere he goes, right? They handle that. Then he goes to Mexicali. They go ahead and jump over to Mexicali and handle that as well, all while keeping in contact with us. And so we all work together as a team to take everybody down.
That's fucking awesome.
So, yeah.
Here's a question from the past. This is just opinion because there's no right or wrong with this one. And there was this little guy in New York. His name was Giuliani. And I think Giuliani cleaned up something called Times Square. So they put in Disney and they redid everything. There was a time when New York, they had helicopters, they had cameras everywhere. They literally turned the city into like a miniature like war zone, and they would go up on it. They would pull up in black Ford or Cadillacs, these huge trucks with armor on them, and they would literally take over a street corner in New York. One guy would come up with an AR-15, another guy shotgun, other guys like 2 or 3 with handguns, and they would literally stop, search people, whether black or white, Latino, anyone in New York. They would take over the corner and just as a show of force. Was that ever done in LA? Was that ever thought of in LA, or is it just too big? Or like,
you know what? That's a great question.
Or I don't know, because I've never seen it done in any other portion of the country, but it really turned New York around.
Right. Yeah. And see, Giuliani's shady to me because he started off, he made his bones as a lawyer, and he was actually very good at, he actually took down the mob in a couple of cases as he was a young man growing up, doing his thing in his law firm, working for the city and whatnot. He actually went up on wire and helped a lot with a lot of the mafia guys or whatever the case may be when he was younger. And then, of course, he became the chief of police, and then I think he was even the mayor and possibly even the governor at some point in time.
So,
but I don't believe that he followed.
When he was mayor of New York City, his number 2, his right-hand man, his capo, was actually a capo for the mafia. And so the theory was that he took his people that he worked for the mafia, because he was controlled, they told him who to take down their competing interest in the mafia, because you have to
their competing interest.
So he would have them take down, because there was like Sonny Barger. He was working with the FBI even though he was in the mafia. He used the FBI against his enemies even though he was working for them. So that's what I think Giuliani did. He used it. But but he did do some things with like totally took the police force to another level of like, Jesus Christ, like cameras everywhere, drones, and taking over street corners. I just never seen, often wondered, like, did other police departments want to do that? Or is that just too much like ACLU? And
I'm sure they wanted to.
Like, oh my God, the lawsuits are bad enough right now. This would take it to a new level.
Right. I think I saw a documentary the other day where there are actually a whole bunch of minorities who are now being released out of jail because of this whole stop and search thing that Giuliani put together.
Whoa.
And those cases got thrown out because they were terrible violations of people's rights as minorities or just as American citizens. And so they weren't doing it to, anybody else. It was just blacks, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, whatever the case may be. And they would literally, they gave the New York cops the right to stop and jack them just because. And that's not legal. So all these cases are now being thrown out. Yeah, just because.
I think it was like 80,000 people I heard.
Yeah, exactly. And so now you've got other agencies that are watching that, but it's like, if you're smart, you see some benefit in it if you're dealing with gang members, but you can't do that to just the average citizen. And so you're doing this to all these other people, and you're locking up minorities who aren't doing anything. And then they're catching cases. And
this guy named Joe Rogan, I listened to his podcast, and he had a black guy on there that had been, he was in New York, and yes, he was, he did some shady shit, and he admitted it.
Sure.
But he got arrested and blamed for a murder he didn't do. And he had claimed for 30 years, I did not do this murder. But it was found out that the judge and the prosecutor, because they knew he did other things, they just couldn't catch him for the other things, like doing drugs on the street. That they wanted to put him away just because he was, they knew he was guilty for something, but they couldn't prove anything.
For something.
So they put him away for 30 years. Then he just gets out, and he was on the Rogan show, and I'm like, damn, this guy spent 30 years of survival, ruined his fucking life. He's going to get some compensation, but there's no amount of millions of dollars that will ever compensate you for having to survive prison. That's PTSD right there. And I'm like, fuck,
oh my God,
that really bothered me. So my question for you, this is another opinion thing, because I have mixed views, because I'm red on guns, I'm red on the border, I'm red on, I don't think men should participate in women's sports, because I just changed my mind. I want to win a gold medal. But I'm blue when it comes to like, I'm blue when it comes to like, when Medicaid people, I want to help them, and when women get raped, I think they should have abortion.
Good for you.
And so, but I'm blue and red. You know what I'm saying? I'm mixed. But here's this.
You're mixed.
This case on a subway. So there's this mentally ill black man that dresses like Michael Jackson. His family's kicked him out, doesn't want anything to do with him because he's mentally ill. He's on the subway and he's saying things like, I just want to give up, and he's going around, didn't touch anyone, just verbally, like almost on the verge of doing things, but not to the point. And so there's this, I'd say 27-year-old, 30-year-old white man with curly hair. He's on the train. He's had enough. So to protect other people's what he said, he goes up and puts the guy in the Marine chokehold. And the guy goes down. And then two other white men on the train hold his arms down so he can't unbreak the chokehold. And the coroner, after he died, said it was not for a lack of asphyxiation, lack of oxygen, hypoxia, what caused it. It was actually the Marine literally broke his neck, and that the spinal cord broke, and that's what killed him. Because he couldn't breathe anymore, because he literally shut down his brain because it was too much of a. The guy was trained pretty good. He's a Marine.
Too tight.
And so, what's your opinion on that?
That's why we. That's why we removed the chokehold from law enforcement. You're no longer allowed to use the chokehold. It's called the carotid restraint now, right? Because the chokehold was literally breaking people's necks, and they pulled it out of law enforcement because it was a tactical used thing for many years in law enforcement all around the world, maybe even all around. Definitely in the United States for sure.
I didn't know you guys took it out. I thought it was still used.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I don't. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what years it got removed, but I know specifically in the Los Angeles, California area, it was removed. You can no longer put anybody. It was before my time that it actually got removed, but I remember being caught. We do not do the chokehold. We do not, let me represent and say this again, whoever the training officers were, we do not do the chokehold. We do what's called the carotid restraint. They showed us what a chokehold was that was illegal, and then they showed us what the carotid restraint was. They are very, they're very different. They have different effects.
I'll have to look this up now. I don't know,
so you can take a look at it, whatever the case may be, but obviously the carotid restraint is used to cut off the carotid, the flow of the blood in the carotid artery, so that now you pass out, but you still are alive. And you don't kill but the chokehold killed people. So he just applied an illegal move that not even law enforcement would use.
So,
and again, broke the guy's neck, right?
We can't
no, I'm not saying that. You can't.
You're taught to kill people. So I guess my question is, what is your opinion about vigilante justice and trying to? I think he.
Oh God, you would ask me that.
he kind of did the right thing, but he fucking killed someone.
Yeah.
God damn it! Like you took it a little too far, Marine. That's why he's a crayon eater. He didn't know that. I didn't know I'm gonna kill her. Like he didn't do it intentionally. I don't think, but what do you think about vigilante justice? Concealed carry, pulling out a gun.
Ooh, yeah, man.
I'm not
Those
gonna
are
lie
great.
to you. You spent 6 months learning the law, and even then, cops can't even recite the book. We'll call it the Bible.
They can't even do
law.
the shit.
Yeah, and so imagine some Marine that gets out that's a crayon eater. That's what I call the Marines because they're not the,
Okay.
they're no geniuses in the Marine Corps. So
sure, I got you.
all of a sudden, you're expecting him to try to decipher what the law is. He just knows that some Karen, some 50-year-old lady that's going off, or a Chad, some white guy that's fucking lost his marbles. Do you restrain them? Do you take out their knee? Do you accost them? Do you physically push them and knock them down and hit their head where they have a concussion? Or do you pull out your gun and threaten them? If they have a threatening, like a knife versus a gun, you pull out a fucking gun. You're going to prison now, even though you're a vigilante. Do you think the cops should just handle it, or do you think the citizens should have the right to do vigilante justice and try to impart their own justice, like Judge Dredd?
Got it. Good question.
Yeah, what do you think?
Execution or Judge Dredd? Great question. I would say I've kind of got like a two-part answer here. So I would say that there is some vigilante justice that is needed, because just whatever you do, a lot of times the police don't make it in time. They're understaffed or whatever the case may be. Time constraints, whatever you call it, right? However, it needs to be blatantly bold print, highlighted, known that if you decide to take a vigilante approach to a situation, you are taking the risk. And so you better be well educated on the law and know what's up, because if you handle the situation illegally, then you need to be prosecuted in order to let everybody else know not to handle it illegally. So you need to be smart about how to handle the situation, and not just, oh, cool, so you did this, then I get to take my legal, 9mm that I changed into full auto and let off on the bus, right? And I killed the bad guy, but I hit 2 other ladies too, right? Because I put it on full auto. And then I carry hollow points or whatever I carry, and it went through the bad guy into the lady behind him. And so cops are trained to deal with that situation, but you are not. You had good intentions, but bad things happen. So I think, yes, vigilante justice at times, they save people.
I'm medical. And so when the laws of the United States will protect me from some biblical stance. It's called the Good Samaritan.
Sure.
A Good Samaritan law means if I try the best of my ability to do CPR, stop the bleeding,
best of your ability,
put the person's, or I break a rib when I'm doing CPR, or something happens and the person still dies, the family can't sue the Good Samaritan for trying to help.
Can't sue you.
But this is different. There's no law. There is no Sadducees law where it's an eye for an eye, bitch. He pulled out a gun, so I'm pulling out a fucking bazooka and I'm taking this bitch out. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, there's people that go around town that have a truck, and I'm just gonna stereotype people. If you have a fucking truck and there's a huge flag in the back, bad things are gonna happen. And especially if it's a white guy, and you hear the words yeehaw come out, nothing good's gonna be happening. It's Arkansas justice and shit. And I'm thinking these people may try to dispense. And I'm talking their justice is because someone cut them off in traffic. They'll pull out a fucking gun, get out of the truck, and start shooting. And I'm like, mother of God, has it come that bad now? We're fucking traffic now? People are killing each other? The answer is yes. And so...
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen...
Or how about the guy that drove around? Yeah, how about the guy that drove around? I'm talking to my friends at my job, and we're going over some notes. I'm working for a psychology person, and this guy drives around the corner in one of those cars you're talking about, makes a right, slows down and yells out, "Fuck you, nigger," right? And literally, he didn't pull out a gun, but could have, because in his mind, again, vigilante justice, black people need to die. We're taking over the world, and we're taking things away from his white America, or whatever the case may be. It could be anybody. I'm just using that as an example. There are all kinds of racist groups that are out there. So now you got to worry about, vigilante justice being imposed upon people. But that's not a law. Or now you're dipping into other people's rights to live, and you're taking them away because you don't like it.
So, and this is a really, this gets difficult here because now it's a murky world we're talking about here. So I have someone from high school I knew. He's my best friend back in high school. He now lives in Florida. I interviewed him on the podcast. I can't say his name or anything, but he lives he lives close to this Pulse Nice club. And then another club he went to recently, people in AR-15s in a truck drove by and shot the place up. It wasn't in the news. He
Right.
just told me about it. And I said, why wasn't it in the news?
Okay.
He says, because so many people hate gay people and it's kind of promoted by the governor of that state now that
Sure.
it's just kind of accepted. You don't even put it in the news anymore because everyone knows it's going to happen. Those people are just treated that way. So the Supreme Court
That's crazy.
The Supreme Court came down and said this person that was supposed to do a website for a gay people for their wedding. She went up to the Supreme Court and she won her case. And so now there's no protections for gay people about going into a business. So let's say someone goes into a restaurant. They don't have to serve them. They don't have to serve them whatever kind of business anyone owns, whether it be an internet website business or a restaurant or anything else, if they don't want to serve them. And so what scared me was not that, I mean, gay people are kind of treated if you're going to like, if you're gay, you're going to have to deal with, if you go into a red type restaurant, it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah.
If you go to Arkansas, you're not going to be treated well. What scares me is where does this stop? Because your religion says you don't have to honor people that you disrespect or you don't find, does it stop with Arabs that have a different religion? Does it stop with black people? Because I don't know, like the white national supremacist type people, white national Christians don't think black people should live. That's the thing that scared me. Like they opened up a can of worms like, well, my religion says I can do it. I don't have to treat anyone unless I like them. If they're not white, if they're not waspy, they don't make over $30,000 a year. They're not as rich as I want. Sure. They have tattoos. I don't want to treat them. And so it's like, damn it, you've now opened up this level of discrimination because now it's also affirmative action. And now they can just accept white people into college and Asians. And so it's like, oh my God, I don't know if the Supreme Court made the right decision on these things because it's going to set us back a few years, like a few hundred. Fuck.
And it's so funny. People yell oppression, but it's only when you're being oppressed. So right now, if the government's doing something to me as a black man, other people will look the other way, or it's just glad, we agree, or, at least it's not happening to us. But guess what? It can, and they'll come that way. And eventually it can be, now the Asians on this, now the Hispanics on that, now the lower income white people on this, it can come and get you at any point in time. So stand up now while you can, even though it's not affecting you at this moment. You're allowing for that door to be open to eventually, touch your life.
I think
whatever the case may be.
Made the biggest impact for me in my life, like World War II is just like, we always watch that. We're like, man, those people were bad. But there was a recent thing in the 90s called Hotel Rwanda, in which the Hutsis and the Tutsis, they had this radio station. Then everyone listened to the radio station.
That was crazy.
And the guy on the radio station, very popular personality, preaching hate, was saying that the Tutsis they're cockroaches. They're nothing. They should be killed with machetes. So these people literally, after listening to this for a year and a half, they go buy 64,000 machetes. They start chopping other black people up. But they didn't know what they look like because they're all black. So they started having to start looking at their IDs to see if the ID said Hutsi. Or they start looking at them like, what do you think? Do they... My neighbor, he's rude to me, so I think he's a Hutsi. We will kill him and no one will know. Like, what the fuck?
We'll just kill him.
What level do we start? This level of hatred, and it permeates America right now, and I'm like, fuck. We need to get along. We need someone in the middle. Oh, I just don't know. Oh, it's just so bothersome. Like, I don't want anyone to die.
Yeah.
And so it's just like the level of hate. Yeah. And so, but the law enforcement now is, there's so much stuff. There's 10 YouTube shorts I'll watch, and 9 of them are like cops coming up to the window and they're trying to show how much they can mistreat the cops and be an asshole to the cop. Like, I'm not rolling down my window. I'm not participating. No, I'm not answering. No, I'm not going to stop filming. I'm going to be a total asshole to you because I have the right to. And so it's like, motherfucker. And then there's one video will show like a cop will be like, let someone go, be cool. The cop will go in and play basketball. If you guys get this, you guys can keep on playing, or go to the backyard barbecue and dance around and say, hey, just guys keep it down. Just showing, but you respect, man, respect both ways, and so the people get it and do what they want. So I think the smart way to do it versus coming in with guns like freeze. But the negative media attention through TikTok is allowing these young teenagers and punks to take it to a level of like, fuck, you're gonna mistreat the cop. Someone is a dick to me. it's going to reciprocate eventually. There's only so much I can be.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's just like, fucker, roll down that goddamn window before I break this motherfucker. And that's when you get caught after like 100 stops. They broke the law.
Yeah.
And I was saying this the other day, I did a podcast. The one job I think is nearly impossible, not only the cops and undercover stuff, but repo man. The repossession artist.
Oh, repo man.
Holy fuck. They pull up to a yard. Poor person hasn't paid their car, and they have to repo this. Those people come out with guns. They will kill you. It's their car.
Oh, yeah. You're on my property.
I don't care if
you're on my property.
I own it now. I'm never going to pay again. You're not going to take it or I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And so I saw that. And
I dare you to come get it.
That got my heart rate up. It's difficult for me to watch, but I'm like, I must watch. You know, it's like, fuck.
Oh, yeah, because it's interesting. Yeah.
The cops, and I'm like, there's this lawyer going around on the internet that he knows the law, and he tells the cops, I'm a lawyer. I know the law. I don't have to fucking participate in anything you want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're being a dick. And just in life, there's these chads that go around just to be a dick.
Yeah.
I'm like, motherfucker, can't you get along with anyone? Can't you be... The cop asks for anything. I will not only fucking show everything in my car, I'll strip naked on the side of the road, whatever you want me to fuck. If you want me to dance, I'll fucking dance. I'll be the dance monkey, bitch. I am not going to piss people off. My whole, just to get along, just to fucking be the little bubble that, I don't want to be the bubble that comes up too high or too low anymore and be on the radar. Like, fuck. It just bothers me. But
look how things have changed. Look how things have changed. We grew up like me and you. I'm 42 now. Yep. Me and you grew up in a world where you would never disrespect a police officer, good, bad, or indifferent, right?
Always.
Okay, so now, always respectful, right? Okay, so watch this. So now cops become aggressive. They become now where they are God on the block or whatever the case may be, and they're taking the rights of certain citizens away over and over. They're always in history. If you look, always in history, those people will eventually rise up, right? And they will eventually be boycotting, fighting, whatever that force is that's oppressing them. So it isn't right necessarily, but how many times do you get to stop me illegally and shoot me, my dad, my mom, my brother, whatever, over and over again before I start making the traffic stops hard on you? Yeah. I don't want to pull over anymore. I don't want to stop and get jacked and get pulled out of the car for just being black and driving or being Hispanic or being Asian or whatever the race is or ethnicity. I'm tired of you mistreating me.
I have white privilege.
Abusing your,
just my car in itself.
Sure, but even if one day you got wrapped up into that somehow and you became part of that minority, whatever it is that gets mistreated, there will come a time when you get tired of getting pulled over and disrespected and patted down and searched, and your car get torn apart for no legal reason whatsoever, and you will stand up in a way, whatever your way is, right, to fight that, whatever it is. If it's protesting, if it's getting on your podcast and talking about it, if it's getting on your internet channels and talking with it, whatever the fight is, you're not going to lay down and just take it anymore. And I'm not saying it's right.
No,
I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that now you see people now fighting back because they're tired. I saw a guy get shot on Facebook live.
What?
He told the police officer, I have a gun in the fucking glove compartment, and so is my license to carry the gun. And instead of the cop just calling for backup, pulling both parties out of the car, and then searching the car for that gun and that in the past and to see if everything was legal, he tells the guy, go ahead and grab it and give it to me. He says, well, my wallet's in there with this, but the gun is in there too. Don't shoot me. He tells him, go ahead. I won't shoot you, whatever the case may be. So the guy, after 10 times of telling him, opens the glove compartment where his wallet's at and the gun that he just told this cop about 15 fucking times, and he reaches for the wallet, and the cop shoots him fucking 5 times. Like, I just told you there was a gun in the car. If you're that scared, you should remove me from the car.
No shit.
And you go search the glove compartment. You can find my license in there. You can make the gun safe, and you can check to see if I have a legal license to carry a gun. If I don't, I'm now under arrest. If I do, you now have to let me go.
The ones that bothered me a lot are, of course, southern towns. A lot of racism.
Sure.
Black sheriff, black cops get pulled over.
Yeah.
And they fucking totally racially profile them, totally treat them like shit. And then some of the cops will be nice once they find out they're a cop, and others will still be assholes because they're black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's
Just because
fucking
they're black.
obvious.
Yep.
And I'm like, and that's why I understand why they don't want to be on Facebook and TikTok. So I think they made it illegal in Arizona to film any police officer in whatever they're doing in any way. So now Arizona's protecting themselves. That way they can openly lie. And so I'm like, fuck, there's just enough bad cops now doing this shit that it makes everyone look bad. Because you do hear a lot of it, and you see it. Now, if you just heard about it in the past, you're like, yeah, they're just making it up. But when you see it on fucking Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts,
oh my God,
it's fucking real. And that's why fuck.
It's crazy.
I just don't think of that shit when I'm asking you questions. I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't think of that. Because I have white privilege, and if I get stopped, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'll be like the little kid from Goonies, fucking saying way more. In 7th grade, I cheated on a test, you know. I'm like, fucking.
Right.
Because I have my concealed carry in a lockbox underneath my seat. That's attached with a titanium bicycle thing built into the actual lockbox. I'm so fucking paranoid of someone taking my gun. And I haven't been carrying it lately as much because I'm afraid that there's so many angry people on the road that I don't want to shoot someone. And even if I'm right, I'm like, I can still be wrong in a court of law. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, yeah, man. It's scary now.
I'd rather the police deal with it, but there's just not as many. I mean, I think we need a policeman on every corner like New York had.
Sure.
Like it's getting bad. And our aggressive levels on the roads or aggression is getting bad. I have to admit, from here to Colorado Springs to Denver has gotten much better because they've widened it, so there's less anger now.
Right.
So you've retired from the police. Your job now is not as stressful. Everything's much better.
So I ended up having to medically retire after being shot. I didn't come back fast enough, and that was a whole other ordeal.
Retired. You didn't go back in that world.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't quit. I got benched, and so that was hard to deal with. You know, after you've given blood, sweat, and tears, and now I got hit because of what I was, working with you guys for, whatever the case may be. But you still got a clock to which you have to, return. And if they think it's taking too long, they just can you.
And so, how many years did you put in?
Almost 15.
Do you get a pension in the police, or do you only get like partial, or did you get anything once they kicked you?
I got a medical pension because of it, and then they gave me kind of a choice to take medical for a lifetime or a payment, and you can take it in pieces or lump sum.
You took the medical for a lifetime.
I didn't have anybody smart to tell me to do that, so I took the lump sum.
You took $2,000, and then you're fucked up.
Yeah, right. That's what it felt like. Yeah, really. Yeah. So I didn't have anybody there that was, whatever. And I foresaw some things, and I thought things were going to go different. And I thought, okay, well, they can medically retire me, but if once I get better, I can go back and, stuff like that. And it just didn't work out that way. And so, and it might've just been a good thing because, the cop world has changed severely since when I was in.
Oh my God.
So now I don't even know if I could handle it now anymore. That, just with so much of the spotlight being on them and people doing things so negatively that even when good guys do things for good intentions and they go bad, they get judged wrongly for it, so.
And not only, so fearful of not just being able to, so let's say you're 15 years on the force. You're on the film, and all of a sudden you say something and they misconstrue it, and all of a sudden your job is lost because not even violence, just verbally saying something, and all of a sudden you get fired. Your whole life is done because everyone's sensitive, like defund the police, which I'm totally not against. I'm blue line type. We need police, and they do a good job, but at the same time, like, you shouldn't fucking stop people like they did in New York and letting all those people out just for stereotyping race or what kind of car you're in. But I'm like, fuck.
That's ridiculous.
So there's this case in
which ridiculous.
It's something called the ACLU. And what was it? They want to use DNA to get people out of prison.
Okay.
And which seems fair because they've put a lot of people in jail and death row that totally innocent. So I'm with that.
Shouldn't be there,
But now the ACLU does not want to allow the courts, the police, and the DA's office to use DNA to try to solve crimes because that could infringe.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's what I fucking said. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like,
it's got to go both ways. Yeah.
If you want it to exonerate people for doing crimes that they didn't commit,
then
we should be able to use it to catch the criminals that accidentally put those people
that are doing stuff
that
absolutely
went to prison. So I'm like,
that should have went to prison.
Me? So it's like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Are they doing it just to support a certain side? Because that doesn't sound. I don't know. It bothered me.
To me, that sounds like you're trying to rectify. You're trying to use reverse racism because of what racism has done, right? To lower income people, lower class people, and or minorities. You're trying to reverse what has been done and help out, but you're doing it in a way that is not right. If you're going to use it, then it should be used on both sides, not only to exonerate those who did not commit crimes, but then those who did commit crimes and legitimately did them, we want to put those guys away because those guys need to be in jail. So if we've got a technique that will do that 100% or 92% better than what's being done before, we should do it. If you can cut the rate down of people going to jail for the wrong reasons, I'm all for it. There are so many guys in jail that shouldn't be there. So I worked with guys that would literally treat African Americans or minorities different. They'd warn white people for the same type of crimes that they would put a black guy down for 10 fucking years and let the white guy walk with a verbal warning.
If you look at the
you be hard on crime or not.
It's absolutely obvious that there is racism in that way.
Yeah.
Like, for the judges, for everything in the court system, the prison systems, the minorities get more time for the same crimes because they're perceived as being more vicious, savage.
Yes.
Like, the whole.
Absolutely right. Oh, the boogeyman. Did you see that? There was a comedian. I think he did a great job with it. One of the famous guys that we would know if I probably named him. It wasn't Kevin Hart, but he did a comedy documentary, but it was really to teach, but he felt like if he did it with comedy, then it would come across easier than just a flat documentary, right? Yeah. And his point was essentially to talk about, no, sweetie, not yet, to privatize that jails are being privatized, right? Prisons are being privatized. Not good. So there's a ton of money in it, right? So all this money, they've literally gone to the judges and the lawyers and said, we will give you money and pay you under the table if you will give minorities harsher charges so that we can keep them in prisons because they get money off of every body, every person, every living human being that's inside. They got to keep them full.
It's a profit margin
we
for
keep
us.
Them full.
That's horrible.
That's exactly right. So now you've got judges going and looking at these cases and saying, all right, cool, I got, Joe Schmuckatelli, white guy here in front of me, and I've got this black guy here in front of me. They both did a burglary, right? Yeah. I can put this black guy away for 10 years, and this white guy, I'll give him 6 months and 2 years of probation, right? So the black guy gets locked up, right? And then a percentage of that, whatever those are all dollar signs behind that, right? So now the judge gets a bonus check because this year he's put away, let's say 1,500 black guys and another 1,000 Hispanics, right? So now he's done well for whatever the prison system is in that area. And so now he can, you reap the benefits of his harsh judgments as well as whoever else in that court is operating under this. But that's dirty business. You know what I'm saying? You judge them all the same or judge them all, judge them all the same, period. You know what I'm saying? You can't go around.
Did you ever see the Transformers movie where they pull the black guy into the room with the two other white people, the white woman and the white guy? And the black guy, a really famous comedian, but he starts eating all the donuts, and as soon as they come in, he fucking points the fingers that they may be doing.
Right, because he's nervous. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
that. If you and I get pulled into the fucking cop station, my fucking white privilege, I will pull everything out. I will not get in trouble. I'll be like, oh my God, Max fucking did it. Max did it all. He's a mastermind. He grew up in Central LA. He made me do everything.
Right. It's like a guy plotted the whole fucking thing, right? I believe.
They'll just say, sir, we just called you in to give you your ID card you lost. Here it is.
Sure. Here's your wallet.
In trouble? Oh, I'm just kidding. Then Max is good.
We're not in trouble. Right? Here's your wallet. All right.
Hey, we're friends right now, but I'll use my white privilege. I'll do anything to get out of trouble.
Right. Anytime you can. Hey, right.
Max, Braxton. Oh,
you
my
gotta
God.
do it.
And not just drama
Right, you
crying.
got it.
It'll
I'm
be
not
like
doing
that.
no time.
The sobbing, can't
Right,
breathe and shit, like a
right.
kid's
The
snot bubbles
sobbing,
coming out.
snot coming out of your
Like,
nose.
oh my
Yeah,
God, I've done nothing.
you're right.
I'm innocent. I'm a white
I
man.
was-
Please let me go.
I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know. Right.
You can ask anyone at the country club. The country club
Right.
people will vouch for me.
Right. I'm
But
such a good man. Right.
even though I joke around about it, everything I just said, white privilege, driving a nice car, I'm wearing my scrubs, I have an $800 stethoscope, I go to the country club,
Yep.
they'll probably let me off
Yeah.
just on the street, just like, oh, you're a good citizen. You like such and such football team. Yeah, let's let him go, Chuck.
Sure.
Versus anybody that gets pulled over, the car has a ding in it. There's a hubcap missing. You didn't take a shower that morning. You're in sweats.
Sure.
Oh, we need to take this guy in. We know he's doing something. He needs to. This looks suspicious. I have a feeling in my gut. It's just like that. Fuck.
Yeah, it's called a gut feeling. Yes, that's investigative gut feeling. And now what you just did, and not you, but now what you just did is you let the pastor off. Yeah, you took the pastor of the Baptist church, you just took him to jail because he was off that day. And so he doesn't look so upstanding that day. So you took him to jail and you let the pedophile who has all the pornography, child pornography you could think of, and a 7-year-old in his basement. But because he's a member of the club, right, you let him off and he's back home watching child pornography and all that shit. And the pastor of the Baptist church is getting booked, or at least getting his car torn apart, searched, and all that other shit, every right violated because he looked a certain way to you.
He's
so
probably
yeah,
using I'm not gonna lie, if you're not using NIV, he's probably using American Standard Version, and I feel he should have been locked up. No, just kidding.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, the King James Version, if you look at it, there's a word called gainsayeth. I don't know too many people, any Christians, that know what gainsayeth means. It's just like,
I'm going to say no.
American Standard Version is a little easier to understand, but NIV, that's my people.
Right.
That's like just common. Anyone on the streets will be like, to the point.
Yes.
Now, you get people to argue, though, that like, well, in Colossians, this could mean this or this. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are pulling teeth now.
Course.
So I just felt if there's this little prayer, it says basically, dear Lord, please protect me from your followers, because sometimes they get a little bent out of shape and they do things that are like, I don't know if that's very Christian or not, but you know what I'm saying? And you can't judge people just on, but it's like, come on, it's about love and forgiveness, kindness, opening your heart to others. And I read this book. I was really young. There was this little white guy that was super poor that went across America, and he got to go into people's houses and go into people's churches. And I didn't realize at the end of the book, he said, the way I did all this is on the back of my backpack. It said something like Jesus or God loves you or something. So everyone recognized that he was like a Christian guy, but he went all the way from New York, DC, across all these states, all the way to California.
Right. Wow.
Now I don't know if he was black or white. I don't think it mattered, but he went to black churches, white churches. But just because it said Jesus was a really nice guy, he got free meals, free places to stay, and people really took care of him.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, I don't know if that's going to happen these days. Like if you, what do you call it? Hitchhiker?
Yeah, hitchhiker.
I'd be scared of getting abducted and weird people. Like I would die. I'm like, there's no, anyone that hitchhikes these days is absolutely crazy. It's not like in the 70s or 80s where you could do that kind of crap.
Oh, yeah.
You will die.
You got balls if you do it now.
In fact, if you have kids, think about this. In the 1970s, I was like maybe 8. My brother was 1. I was taking care of him because I was responsible. There's no responsible fucking 8-year-olds, but I really was responsible.
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
And now these days, and I was going to the park alone. I went down to, I had to walk a mile and a half to the store and get gallons of milk. And I was crying on the way home because it was too heavy. I had to stop, and I didn't get home in time, so I got fucking spanked because I thought I was joking or playing around. If you let a 12-year-old out to go to a park or anywhere, Child Protective Service are going to be called. There's so many weird people.
You know it.
And I'm so scared because I just see in the ER, I've seen so much child abuse and so many females getting raped. It really bothered me to the core. I'm for in the military, if you go seek help, you're fucking weak. Do the police have that same mantra, or is it just like you need help, PTSD, we're really, hey, let's go speak to Chuck, the psych guy, or you'll get pulled if you do? Like, is there a certain stigma or a stereotype in the police, SWAT and all that if you guys see a death, like, hey, I'm good, I'm good? Or do you guys do you guys ask for help, or what's the deal?
Right. So I think that's a good question for me, especially because my brother is a psychologist in the Army. And so he's attached to special forces units. And so he deals with that. And he was just telling me the other day about his job and kind of what he has. And I was just sitting there baffled that we don't have the same things for tactical teams that are, city based or state based, such as, like the SWAT team I was on. You really only go see a psychologist if you kill somebody. You are forced to go see a psychologist. However, for all the other stuff, all the other stuff that you see and that you're exposed to, you can go if you want. But like you said, the stigma is you signed up for this shit. Why can't you handle it? You're a pussy if you can't handle it. You need to be able to handle it. That's the stigma. So yeah, if you're brave enough to go do it on your own, but nobody's going to offer that to you or suggest, like, you're not going to have, a senior officer that's going to say, hey, look, you just saw that kid die. You need to go see so-and-so and such, whatever the case may be. Like, that's just part of the job. You should handle it. Whereas my brother, he checks in with his tactical teams all the time. And, the supervisors are always having him come out and evaluate the guys and talk with them and stuff like that. So, yeah, they need to step that up in our world for police officers. They really do. Because like I said, the only time you have to go is if you get in a shooting, you have to go see the psychologist before they sign off on you going back to work. That's it, though.
Damn, so it's
all the other stuff you see, yeah.
All the leadership will always say, like, oh, yeah, we have a program, a 4-tier program. We'll allow our soldiers to get back, or our police officers, the bullshit. But the real reward is that they told us when the new president came in that anyone that has PTSD, that experienced anything, we want you to go to a psychologist and talk about it. So everyone did.
Right.
I didn't. I never did. I was so paranoid. But the people that did go forward, the new president came in and he says, oh, no, anyone that said that they had these symptoms, we're pulling their security clearances. You're losing your SCI and red triangle, and fuck you. You're a weak bastard. You should have never fucking came forward. And so people are like, what? No, you promised us. So now in the military, no one will ever come forward because now they learned this lesson. And I'm not
going to get fired from my,
And they say they could have technically given me PTSD, but they would have given me the kind that won't allow me to work anymore. So I'm like, all right, I don't have PTSD then. I just have high anxiety, if that's what you want. So I'm like, so I'm not going to lose my livelihood. I still do my job.
Because I'm not going to lose my livelihood. Exactly. And then, of course, the up and ups, all they got is just enough to do what we call CYA, right, to cover their asses, to say, oh, well, yes, we have this program available to them. And then nobody looks into it. It's just like, oh, good, you have a program available for guys that are out there, or gals that are out there doing this job. That's fantastic.
My favorite,
but you're not evaluating the program. It sucks.
Everywhere I've ever worked, I've heard this from management to cover themselves. No one ever made me aware that the soldiers saw death or they were bothered by it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
I've seen 75 people just die in front of me with a mortar rocket attacks, 2 rocket attacks that hit us on the base. And like people are fucking crying, vomiting. They're, even though we signed up in the military, you don't, like, no one prepared for Vietnam or World War II. It's a battle fatigue of PTSD. And so the cops, I can just imagine, see more. The problem is, when we're taking care of our enemy, we view them, we demonize them. We say, like, well, Iraq used to be our friend, but now they're demons. We must kill them. The police department in the United States, you're dealing with your neighbors. You're dealing with people that are, they're not enemies. They're
American citizens.
Yeah, and so it's like, what the fuck were these? How could they leave their children in cages or beat them to the level that they died? Or what? That you just see some stuff that I don't know how the police deal with it. That's what, Wow.
And if they had psych doctors checking us out, it would literally be able, I don't know what the percentage would be, but I would say probably 50 to 60% of problem police officers, if they were seeing a psychologist by mandated reasoning, let's say you're in a specialized unit and you need to be checked out every 2 years just to make sure you're good to go or whatever, right? And you're checking you will guarantee you'll find 40 to 50% of these guys, and you'll be able to pull them from the unit. They don't have to be fired per se, but let's say they're in gang unit and they have now just, they now see the clientele as all the same and they're treating minorities wrong, whoever they are. pull them out,
It's pretty
right?
realistic,
Stick
yeah.
them back in patrol, or stick them in, some type of domestic violence unit or whatever, because you still have your job. But hey, sorry, you have become jaded to what our mission is as a community entity helping people.
As well as I do, those people are going to be smart enough to
Yeah.
realize they're not going to get promotions because
Sure.
they're weak, they're a damaged bird.
Sure.
So there's this movie
Right.
called A White Guy and a Black Guy, and it's called Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson was crazy in the head,
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
going around doing
Right.
crazy shit, trying to kill himself because his wife died, and I forgot what happened.
Yeah.
And Danny Glover's
Right.
like, just the black guy's trying to save him all the time, and just it's comedy. But at the same time, there's realism, and then like he's to throw in his shoulder. He's not going to go to the dock. He'll just beat it up against the wall.
Yeah,
the
he
psych,
just right,
the psych were
pops
always
it
trying
back
to
in.
investigate Mel Gibson, but he ends up sleeping with her, so he has
Right.
one up. And it's like they.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
It's just like one of those things. Like it's seen, even though in a humorous manner, as a
Yeah.
punishment. If they pull my, I'll be over. I won't be able to work. I can't. That's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to get another job
Yep.
working the desks. So fuck that. And so
Yeah.
it's a cultural thing. Like in our whole culture, United
Yeah.
States, it's what we do. Like you're
Yep.
weak, you go forward, but
Yep.
at the very end of your career, you're told in the military, you better go to the doctor, everything, get it documented. And then everyone in the medical
Right.
community is like so jaded because you're like, oh, and the VA becomes over jaded because they're literally. Everyone wants VA
Yeah.
benefits. Like I, the same thing with me. And
Yep.
it's just like,
Yeah.
you get,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, well, it's life.
Yep.
We're not going to be able to change it. But hey, it was awesome talking with you. I
Right.
appreciate you being on the show. And just the
Yes, sir.
perspective from you did things and seen things that no one else in this world. Like I just like to get different perspectives on different jobs and what people do and find interesting. And you had a unique experience
Yes.
with. I didn't know you were in SWAT because that just like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Just being undercover was
Yeah.
fucking hard enough, but SWAT as well.
Yeah.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
you did the rest. And then the football. I didn't know you were actually going on to play
Yeah,
like at higher
yeah.
levels. That was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good times, man. Definitely. Thanks for letting me be on the show too. It was
did you
awesome
ever-
talking with you.
Did you ever win state, by the way?
Let's see. So I don't think we ever won state in high school. At a high school level, we were definitely up there competing, but nope, I don't think we ever won.
Any championships?
But then I did
local?
win in track.
What?
I did win track state. Yeah,
100,
yeah. My
or what
mom
were you
actually
doing?
just told me. Yeah, the 100 and the 100 and 4x1. I was shocked. I didn't even remember it. My mom was like, she gave me a pack of pictures and just stuff as you're an adult that your parents keep. And she was like, she has medals in there and stuff. And she's like, oh, you live over here. I want you to have some stuff of yours that you can keep for yourself. And one of them in there was a state championship
'Cause I think
for track for 100-meter dash.
Running back, short twitch muscles, really fast.
Right,
100.
right.
And so,
Yeah,
what
I'm
was
not
your,
running long
what was
distance.
your 100? What was your
Oh,
100?
my 100-meter dash?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Let me see.
9.6.
I don't even remember. No. These guys are okay. So your Olympians are at 9.1s and 9.3s and 9.5s and 9.7s.
Yep.
I would say in high school, your really fast guys were the slow guys in the Olympics, which would be like 11.2, 11.3.
Damn.
Right. And those are like really good. Like my brother had a guy who ran with him in track and he ran an 11.5 100-meter. And that's fast in high school. That's moving. So he's probably was like a 4.3 40 guy because he played football too. So I had to be in the like high 11s, like low 12s was probably me. So it's just fast enough to compete, at that level or whatever the case may be to be a threat. But I wasn't blowing people away or anything. I wasn't leaving anybody in the dust, like doing like Usain Bolt, flipping them off as I'm running and whatnot, like,
And I remember
lapping guys and.
in Arkansas, the coaches really wanted to make themselves look good, so they'd get special players, and they would say they could run faster than they actually they could.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
when they made it to college, they're like, you didn't fucking run a 4.65. You're fucking
Where's that at?
Yeah, I was a fucking liar.
Oh,
So they knew
yeah.
they're gonna lie, but
Yeah,
Here
you're
I
not
go.
6'5".
I look
Okay.
back in my 20s and I say, like, well, when I was your age,
Uh-huh.
son, and my fucking 30-year-old son
Yeah,
called
yeah,
me
when
a
I was your
boomer,
age.
a boomer the other day. I'm not even fucking 1964 is a boomer, and before that, I'm not even. But he's like
What?
basically making fun of old people.
He calls you a baby boomer?
Yeah,
Heck,
I was like,
yeah.
after the war, World War
Oh,
II,
my
they started
God.
having all those babies, and
Yeah.
so it's like,
Right.
fuck.
You're like,
As
I
I
wasn't
get
even there.
older-
Yeah.
And I have all these medals. That's the only thing I kept in my military career is the flag I retired with and the 21.
Oh, good for you.
21 medals I have, and I was like, and that's
Right.
just my officer. I couldn't use my enlisted medals, and so I'm like,
Oh, okay.
if I say anything or I show my son those medals, he's like, wow, that's really impressive, Dad. And he's like, good for you. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, it means nothing. Like when I go to the base, like I did all this stuff. I was the best of the best. I was like, I put myself to make sure I was number one every time. And now they could give a fuck less. Just like in the police department, you used to be SWAT. That's like, but now you're like, oh, what do you do now?
Yeah.
It's only what you've done in the last month or year.
It's only what you've done in that. Yeah, that's all they care about.
You find these World War II people that are 9 years old wearing these Navy caps that made it through the World War II, and you're just like, damn, that's impressive. But no one treats them with respect anymore. It's kind of sad. Like,
no.
As you get older, it's hard to, and these young punks are like totally muscular, trying to, different age groups. In your 20s, you're trying to woo a girl with your muscles and your rich car and your clothes, trying to get a girl pregnant so you can live life and have kids. Every 10 years, your life is like a different perspective. So where do you think you're at right now? Are you looking for retirement? Are you still trying to get to the top of the, you're not a player anymore. You're not trying to woo the girls.
No. I still got a little juice in me to still, like, succeed in a field. I guess it'd be my second career. So I'm looking for my second career that I can excel at. And still, get back to those SWAT days where I was top of the line, whatever that career would be. So I've trained tactical teams before. I'd love to do that full time and just do like entry and teach guys how to, make entry into a house and do tactical movement appropriately and safely. While in a gunfight or whatever, whether that's SWAT teams.
Do you guys take anything from, well, obviously you had the SEAL and the Ranger on your team, and then you had FBI helping you guys. Do you guys take things from their platform, or do you guys have a different way of entering buildings like than the military or the FBI?
No.
Is this the same?
Yeah, so when you're military, when we as a military unit as America, when the war changed and we weren't fighting in the hills anymore or anything like that, we started fighting in the cities. We actually joint trained with Navy SEALs and Rangers and stuff to teach them how to hit a house that you can't just blow up with a missile anymore, because you have, Al-Qaeda in it, but you also have moms and kids and so on and so forth. You have to hit that house because the target's in it, but some of those people are going to live. They're just civilians. So they came to us, we cross-trained, and so we got to cross-train with SEALs and Rangers and stuff and show them how to hit a house in a city or whatever the case may be, appropriately take out the bad guys while, because for us, that's what we do all the time. We hit a house. Some of the people in the house are good. Some of the people in the house are just a part of a bad situation. So you can't kill everybody. You can't frag all 15 people in the house. You can only, hit the gang members if they got guns, or the dope dealers if they're armed. What about their wives and kids who have nothing to do with this thing? So we actually got to cross train a lot, which was fantastic. I think, I'm all the better for it as a tactician, because we got to cross train together, and we took points from them and they took points from us. So it was awesome.
Oh my God. This is the thing I'm embarrassed about, but, I used to run on my own. I was really in shape, and so I really did my own thing. But in the officer medical corps, Navy, Air Force, Army, they're all the same. They would make the regular troops exercise every morning and have to do PT and like really push themselves for the PT test. And the medical officers, we had to do surgeries all night long sometimes, and we had to stay awake, because if you're too tired and sweaty and you're seeing someone and you miss something, this is life and death shit. So I never had to do PT in the military until I got sick. Then they had to prove that I was sick. It was a weird fucking thing. But anyways, I was running ultra marathons and doing things on my own, so I really was in shape per se. But it was just kind of funny that I could make fun of, like, I can't do PT because I gotta work today.
Yes.
And so people,
I gotta work today. I got a real job.
I
got a real job.
I'm actually important. Just one of those things where you fuck with other people.
Yes.
It was like,
I will save your life on the table. You just stand there and guard that and carry a gun. You suck.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when I was in Iraq and different places in the world, like if the guns they gave us to shoot with were absolute shit. They were 1970s M15s that were loose. I mean, they were so loose that I was afraid the bolt was going to come out and it was going to backfire.
Oh,
it was
shit.
fucking filthy and it was just a mess. But if the medical people ever have to fucking fight Yeah,
the shit is hitting the fan.
The compound's going down.
Yeah, the shit is hitting the fan.
Like, because there's
you're literally handing weapons to guys in the gurneys and on the beds. Like,
yeah, no
we're about to be overtaken.
We're gonna take the people that were hit. We're just gonna prop them up on a bag and give them a gun because they're gonna be better than we are.
Right. But exactly, just fire. Just start firing.
There are some legit people out there, and their names are 18 Delta Special Forces. Those medics are the legit. They're like miniature doctors, call them PAs, basically. Then we have the PAs that work with the field units, and then the SF, physician assistants. Right. They're legit. Then we have a few nurse practitioner. They like women specifically for this job because when we're overseas in Iraq, Afghanistan, or the Iran, the Middle East, their culture for, we'll call it Muslim, I guess, religion, they don't like men, doctors or nurses looking at women ghibli bits type thing. And so they'll have women nurse practitioners go out to the villages and they'll open up to them, and then we'll treat them. And then sometimes the women will give away something like, the dogs are in the shed. And if the dogs are in the shed, that means this. And so, so that helps. So the women are used to that. And then the Navy has the IDMT. The Air Force also has it. It's not a PA, but on a ship, you have to train a medical enlisted guy so well that they have to be the doc. So you hear doc, and that's an IDMT. Really highly trained, respected people because the medical community. And the Navy, I think, treats their medical officers the best of all of them. But anyways, just different things. Everyone has their specialty. I always joke around about because we did get... most of the fat people you'll find working in the hospital or the dining hall because we just don't exercise as much. But you don't really need to because we're not the ones that are winning the war. We're just supporting in like a secondary.
We're saving your ass so that you can win the war.
Now, ironically enough, you'd never guess this from a SWAT team or someone in the civilian world. The most specialized, the most specialized special forces, there's, I think, 31 of them in the world. And I don't know the exact numbers because it's all secret, of course. And I never knew this till almost getting out of the military. It's these any service can do it, but they're trained in SF first. They're weathermen. These weathermen, and I've met several of them, and I've never seen a more perfect specimen of a human being. They look like Ken dolls. They're 8-packs. They're literally, and they're not just ripped. They're the most intelligent people. I mean, just fucking... SF guys are smarter than everyone in the military to begin with. Navy SEALs, Delta, Ranger, SF, because your mind has to be smart enough to do that shit. But these guys, weathermen, they get put in a country they're not supposed to be, so they can't get caught. So they have to stay within a 10-yard radius under a tree or buried or in a... And they have to say the weather, because if we're invading... the country of Iraq, let's say, on that beach, we have to have someone there. So they're buried in the sand, or they're living in the water for 10 days. They have to eat, survive, can't let anyone know they're there. They can't make smell of their poop could be smelled. They can't burn anything, so there's no fire. They have to just drink what they can get, survive what they get. And it's just like, if you spend 6 weeks in a fucking place you can't leave, and you have to stay sane mentally and call back from these telecommunications that can't be traced. That's the most specialized, because they have no friendship. They have nothing there. They have that radio, and they can't bring a book. They can't bring a library. They have no fucking video game out there. That's the most specialized. That impressed me so much because, well, and it's so hard to say because the Rangers and the Delta and the SEALs, they have different missions. That's like the SWAT team comparing themselves to the forensics. That's not even fucking a little bit different. That's fucking, but that's like a lot different. You need forensics to save the, just like medical, you need these fucking medical people to save the SF to put them back in the fight. You need a dining hall person to keep you need a supply person. It took 13 supply people in World War II to keep one soldier invested with bullets and all that shit. So every person's important in society, even though other people try to make, the surgeon's always going to make us all look bad because they're getting $1 million a year. So yes, they're important. But without the nurse, without the medic, without the person that cleans that room, they have... We had these things at San Antonio where certain people were getting MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, in this one room over and over and over. The surgeons kept... So they tested the surgeons for the disease, and they ended up bringing in this robot. and this robot puts out this stuff called hydrogen peroxide at such high pressure and temperatures that it literally kills everything in the room. And they were still getting the MRSA there. So they don't know if it was the instruments.
Wow.
It was just getting, so we had to shut down that room.
Yeah.
2 rooms. And so that hurt us because we couldn't do procedures as much. But one little cleaning person, you think, oh, how it's just taking out trash. And they just clean the room. They're fucking, that person, if that person fucks up their job, fucking people die.
People die. Right.
And so just like in Alaska, the people didn't clean the instruments and someone ended up getting a disease from the surgery, no fault of their own.
Right.
But can you imagine if you came out of surgery and all of a sudden you had hepatitis or AIDS or something bad? Like, what the fuck happened? Well, we're sorry. We forgot to clean the instruments. And we're like, you can't sue the military.
That happened to me.
What?
Yep, that happened to me when I got my leg surgery, when I had the surgery after I got shot. I got some kind of version of MRSA or something like that was in the room because they didn't clean it well. And I had to go see, what is it called?
Infectious disease doctors.
Thank you. Yep, that's exactly what it was. You spot on. An infectious disease doctor for like a whole good, almost a year of trying to battle this thing because I'd gotten a blood disease. Yeah. I had to keep switching up antibiotics and taking every 2 weeks something different.
Damn.
It was terrible.
It's called a nosocomial infection. So nosocomial infection people will just acquire from the hospitals because hospitals aren't healthy, clean places. This is where sick people go to die and shit. And so when you go to the hospital, you better be damn sure you're sick enough to be in there because you could get sick and fucking die and you didn't have a problem in the first place.
Right.
So you better be, these people that have hypochondria end up fucking getting really sick and it wasn't even their fault. So that's just damn sorry about that. Damn, now you're sick and Jesus.
Yeah, that's terrible.
You're limping around like a gangster. And now you're fucking some disease in your skin for the rest of your life.
Inside you, you're right, for the rest of your life trying to fight that. Yep.
Well, sorry for keeping you extra. I just like to, I'm a talker. And
you're good, man.
You're like a very interesting person, so I appreciate talking to you. So I appreciate you being on the show, Max, and hope you and Barbara are doing well. So I'll always use you as a resource for guns and I didn't realize how much you knew.
Yeah, me too. You're my favorite. Yeah, you're my favorite, right. I love talking about it. For sure, we got to go shooting sometime.
Oh, my God. And do you have a shooting range or you just go out in the woods?
Yeah, no, I use the one that's off of Fort Carson. It's not theirs. People think it's Carson's all the time, but it's actually a civilian shooting range, but it's right off of the base. If you were to go on the base, you're going right towards that gate, like the main gate. Yeah. It's you make a left right before it, and I think it's called Cheyenne Mountain Range. I think that's what it's called. And so it's a civilian range. But I like that one. That's the one I use. So we'll have to go sometime.
I'd be scared to active shooters down there. Fuck, I go to Magnum up north or DCF. I like. DCF I like because there's all these old retirees there, and they're so old they're like turtles. And so they just barely pick up the gun and they're shaking and they hit. And I'm like, damn, makes me fucking feel good. And then they'll ask me what I do.
Right.
And then one guy made fun of me because I said, well, I'm retired military. And he goes, oh, are you SF too? Because everyone says they're SF. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Nope. I'm retired medical. I barely know how to fucking shoot this gun. In fact, I'd stand back when I'm shooing this thing. And so he laughed and shit.
And he laughed. Everyone
wants to say like, I was on SWAT. I was armor grad.
I was a SEAL team. SEAL team 900.
Yeah.
But I can't talk about it. Yeah, okay, that works out. It's really perfect because you can't talk about it. Yeah, that works out.
I barely got this. They didn't even want to let me buy the gun because I kept pointing around everywhere. So I'm a range hazard. I'm like
right. Oh man.
To joke around, but hey, good talking to you. I appreciate you and put you on the podcast and awesome times. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, man.
You too.